to an all-new episode of GVN Review. Today, we'll be breaking down the new Marvel release of Shang-Chi. This will be a spoiler review, okay? Spoiler review. We're putting that at the beginning of this, so you guys can't say, you just went right into the conversation. Spoiler review. We'll be spoiling everything about this movie. All right, let me introduce my panel, starting off with Trayvon. What's up, Trayvon?
Hey everybody, I'm happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about this. Favorite MCU movie. Now, over Winter Soldier, I thought nothing would ever beat it, but it did.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's high. That's
It
high.
sure is.
Yeah, I've learned to refrain from that because I'm learning each Marvel movie makes a case for that. And I feel like Eternals is gonna have that in my heart where I'm like, damn, best MCU movie. So what I've said so far is this has easily the best third act of any Marvel movie to date. There is not, minus an Avengers movie. Take Avengers movies out. Solo only. Easily the best third act. Black Panther had the emotion, but the visuals were like hot garbage. So luckily Shang-Chi saw that and said, yeah, we know what not to do. We're gonna fix that. But next up, Tia, what's going on, Tia?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to speak of Shang-Chi. I agree. I know we're not going to go into the review right away, but the third act was very good in Shang-Chi. And we were talking about this before the, we hit record. We don't have to get into it. I quite liked Black Widow, but I can admit that Black Widow had a little bit of a weak third act. So I was happy to see that Shang-Chi had this nice rounded development. So it was really good. And I think that Simu Liu, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and if I'm not, I apologize, but I think and I hope he has a really good career in the MCU going forward.
Looks like he's going to be very busy. As Wong said, strap up, get some rest. That's some work to do, my friend. Next up, Jamie. What's up, Jamie?
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I saw the movie at like 7:00 yesterday, actually, interestingly enough. Only paid $7 to go
wow,
see
that's
it.
the biggest flex. You all are yelling at me. You are all yelling at me for saying that I saw it like, early screeners and everything. I think Jamie is flexing here.
Yeah, that's the benefits of being in a college town.
Yeah, your flex is the biggest. Not only did you not pay to see it, you saw it, like 3 weeks earlier?
I still had to pay, okay? It does not cost, $0 to get down to New York City.
Oh, no.
Yes, while I didn't
Traveling,
pay that, the
yes,
traveling.
Traveling,
The
yes.
traveling. That was like a $60 day. Just saying.
Apparently, AJ thinks he can beat out Jamie's $7. So go ahead, AJ. What's up, AJ? What'd you do?
I saw it twice yesterday for $0. And
did you sneak in? Did someone let you in the back?
No. I had the AMC
A-list.
Yeah, the A-list.
You did 3 movies a week.
And I also had a 20. I think it was like $20 or $25 of like the coupon thing, and I got food for free as well. So it was a win-win for me. And I got to see it twice, and it was greatness. It got even better. So I'm just ready to talk about this.
Yeah, I went today at 2:00, or 2:30 rather. I went with Joel, Joe, my cameraman Mark, and my dad. We all went out to go see it. Yeah, I had the AMC A-list too, so I didn't pay for the actual movie, but I did buy snacks for everybody, and that was a good $40. So that'll never happen again, AMC, where you get that much money out of me.
Did you literally just get like 3 things?
No, I mean, I got 3 sodas, I got a popcorn, and I got a thing of nachos. So I mean, I got a few things, but it's still just kind of like, I could, how much food I could have gotten at McDonald's for $40?
You could have bought that McDonald's for $40.
I could have bought an hour to just have a buffet at McDonald's for $40. Where they just lay out everything on the menu and I can just go through and eat it for $40. But anyway, so like I said, this will be our spoiler review. I I guess we can break this down by acts, and then we end it on the end credit scenes.
Okay.
So T, I want to start off with you. You've been sitting on this the longest, so I want you to get this out. I want you to get this out. What were your thoughts on the first act of Shang-Chi?
So, I mean, it was really interesting because I wasn't expecting it to start with this sort of love story. I mean, I kind of felt very surprised it being a Marvel film, and I was like, oh, okay, this is where it's going. Um, so visually stunning. Like, I love the visuals in this movie. The beginning really encompassed that quite well. I wasn't sure at first of Wenwu as a villain because, you know, we're being told how he was a very selfish man and, you know, very power hungry. And then we have this scene where that's really focusing on how enamored he is with this beautiful woman. So I was like, oh, okay. But obviously, we see later his sort of power come to be. But I did like that we were given this nice backstory. I felt as someone who's never read the comics, doesn't know a whole lot about this character, I felt properly informed. So I feel the beginning of the movie did that very well. I like the time hop, you know, going from seeing young little Shang-Chi getting the background, then adult Shang-Chi waking up and, you know, he's a valet parker. There's nothing wrong with being a valet parker, but you're the son of like this immortal, you know, warrior and everything, and there you are parking cars. You know, I thought that was quite funny. But I liked where are we going up until Joanne? Like, are we going to the bus scene? Would you count that as like the first act?
The second act, I would say, is when he went to rescue his sister.
Okay, so I love the bus scene, by the way. I'm going to start that off right away. I love that whole fight on the bus. I loved all right, you know what? I'm going to get this out really quickly, though, by the way. I said that in this movie, there was something that I disliked about this movie, and I'm going to put that on Aquafina's shoulders. I was not the biggest fan of Katie's character. There was a lot of moments where her humor felt like it was out of place. So I just want to get that out really quick. We could talk about it in a second, but I did think it was quite funny on the bus when someone was, you know, the guys were attacking them and she was like, oh, does this guy look like he can fight? And then, you know, Shang-Chi proceeded to kick all of their asses. To me, I thought that was one of the most entertaining like action sequences in the MCU. It reminded me very much of the scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That kind of high stakes, you know, rushing. There was a little bit of inspiration from the movie Speed there. I thought that was quite well. It's been a few weeks since I've seen it, so I will want to rely on your guys, you know, memory of it since you all just seen it. But I will say that I thought the first act was quite good, and I really liked Shang-Chi's whatchamacalls it, his personality. I was confused at first when Katie kept calling him Sean. But of course we know later that he purposely named himself Sean, you know, to kind of disguise who he really was, separate himself from his past. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was captivating, and I thought that it did well with getting right to the action. Even though it started with this like kind of lovey scene, and to me that was a little disjointing at first in regards to the MCU. Not that I disliked it, I was just like, oh, this is a little slower pace, right? And as soon as it got right to that action, I was like, okay, I really like this. And again, I thought it was a really well done choreographed fight in that bus with Shang-Chi against, is his name like Razor Fist or something? Okay. No disrespect to him or anything, because I actually quite liked his character, but all I kept thinking about was Taserface from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I'd say he's as unimportant as his Taserface. And yeah, they're right there as far as henchmen go. I like how you started this off. I think what I want a lot of people to know that maybe aren't familiar with the characters is none of this is comic book accurate from top all the way to the bottom. That's not Shang-Chi's father. That's
Yeah.
also not the Mandarin. None of these are problems. I'm just stating that none of it, like, this isn't something that someone can come out and go, well, it wasn't accurate to blah or blah or blah. I mean, it's obvious they were changing everything. The Ten Rings never had anything to do with Shang-Chi or his dad. It was never anywhere near him. Again, he was just essentially Marvel's Bruce Lee. That was it. No superpowers, just could whoop anybody. Simple as that. Plain and simple. So I think this was more so an introduction really for everybody. Because it's not the Shang-Chi that I remember. It's not the Mandarin that I remember. They're all new. And in case I am mistaken, Shang-Chi did not have a sister either. So a lot of this.
Well, I felt that they definitely, at least from when I saw it, I think they've released things since then, but I felt like they were holding that really close to the vest, because I didn't realize he was supposed to have a sister. Walking in, and suddenly it's like, you gotta go save your sister. I was like, sister? Where'd the sister come from?
Yeah, they did their best to hide that. The scene where there's a specific scene where when he was a little boy, where his sister was behind him. The trailer cuts off from that right before he moves, and it shows her behind him. So yeah, they were holding that close to the vest. But I'm sorry, before I go to you, Jamie, what were you saying, AJ? He did have a sister?
Yeah, he had a sister, and
in the original Shang-Chi comics?
A stepbrother, but in the original, it's hard to. I can't really explain the original, but you're talking about what is it? Shit.
I'm talking about the comic run from the guy who created Thanos. In his original.
Okay, then not in that original comic, but in recent comics he does.
Oh, okay. So that might be to acquiesce with the MCU.
Yeah, I think they're more focused on what he is now in the comics than what in the previous. Because in the comics now he does have has some sort of area expertise in mystic arts and stuff like that, right. And he also has powers. I should say, and I think it was the Ultimate Comics. He had replication or reproduction, whatever it's called, cloning, in the comics as well. But that was just a one-off, so you can't really go off too much on that as well.
Yeah, Feige's a big Ultimates guy. So a lot of these characters and their storylines are newer and more Ultimate based. But I'm for some of my comic references more of an OG for the original comics. So okay, so if that's the case, I apologize. But that makes sense. A lot of the times he prefers to go more modern tellings of these characters than the original tellings. I
will say their relationship kind of reminded me, I don't know why I was getting such a vibe. It may have been her haircut, but I was getting such vibes of the siblings from Hellstrom. Remember when we talked about that?
Yeah.
It was giving me such vibes, especially her. It was like
I
was feeling
and Shang-Chi.
Yeah. I was getting.
Yeah, it was very much the I love you, but you disappoint me. So I have to show you that I'm superior. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I just want to say one last thing before you move on. I really love the scene when Shang-Chi went to Katie's house for breakfast. And I think it was her grandma who was like, when are you two going to get married and stuff. And I just thought that was really adorable. And it was nice having this little family moments. And I think that it was kind of cool to see like how they are considered like the two that don't grow up. Like we saw even where they're like, oh, we're adults. What are they talking about? We're so adults, And I really appreciate that from it, because you don't really ever see these MCU characters just going to have fun. And I'm like, you guys deserve it, because after this, you're going to have like no fun. You're going to be fighting like aliens and Skrulls and shit like that. So good for you.
Yeah, last time we really saw it was Stark and Iron Man 2. It was really the last time someone actually just let loose and just have fun. Outside of Parker, really. It was Stark. He spent the whole movie taking nothing serious.
And it felt so like it felt so like us, our age bracket, and it's just like something we would do. Okay, you're gonna go and you're gonna, go out and eat, and then you're going to, go maybe to karaoke or something. I really like that. I really like those little like tellings of who this character was.
Yeah. And hopefully he keeps it, they stay that way in nature. Obviously serious when they need to be, but we need fun in the MCU. We don't need it to get too serious. Till Galactus comes, and then it's just like, well, it's serious or everything.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, when we get to that, that'll be. Anyway, we don't need to go there. Jamie, what were your thoughts? I have some actual Galactus theories when we get to the end of this review, but for now, Jamie, what were your thoughts on the first act of Shang-Chi?
I really enjoyed it. I really liked how they started off, he's like putting his dress shirt on and his tie. I'm like, oh, okay, where's he going? And then he sees like a parking valet. I'm like, oh, that's really funny. The one thing I really appreciate about this whole movie is the fact that they don't just like speak Chinese at the beginning and then they completely drop it. Like they use it all throughout. And I think that really helps with just like immersing the audience in the culture and just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like, I guess, I don't know how to say this, but it really does feel like we're kind of getting into that headspace of like Shang-Chi and understanding his life and the way he lives because of the way that he speaks with different characters and with Katie occasionally. But I do kind of agree with Tia. I feel like I don't necessarily dislike Katie, but I think because Aquafina comes with that kind of comedic value and always trying to like have the last line or the punchline, it does kind of take away from certain scenes because it's like, oh, like what's she gonna do next, or she's gonna do something funny, which I don't know. I just feel like there could have been a better balance there.
Well, because
but
and I'm sorry to interrupt you,
oh no,
Jamie,
go
while
ahead.
you're saying. I was just gonna punctuate, like there was a serious scene in the movie, and I can't remember which one it is, but I think it was involving like Shang-Chi and his aunt, and all of a sudden and it was like a really nice scene that should have been given time to breathe, but then Katie had to come in with that one-liner, and it's like, was that necessary? But go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, I feel like, kind of just like bouncing off of that, to have her like punctuate some of the scenes or like punctuate certain moments, it kind of made me feel a little bit confused as to what tone they were going for with the movie, because I knew it was like a little bit more lighthearted than especially Black Widow and other recent Marvel movies, but there also were some like very serious topics that they were trying to dive into. But it didn't take away from the movie for me. It just like added a little, made me scratch my head a little bit. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the bus scene. That was really, really awesome. The fight choreography was super cool, and I think the whole movie, they really do well with the fight choreography. It's been like a long time since I've seen like movies with like martial arts fighting choreography. So to see this in a Marvel film and to see it like executed so well was something like a very pleasant surprise. Although like I saw the trailer, the first trailer, so I wasn't too shocked. But to see all the different angles and stuff that they didn't have in the trailer, that was really well done. What else? What else did I like about the first act? The sister thing for me kind of caught me off guard as well, because I didn't remember seeing a sister in the flashbacks. But I was okay with that. I was rolling with it. I'm like, oh, I guess like here we're kind of discovering things the same way Katie's discovering it, so I have a little bit of her perspective. And I also kind of like how they went about doing the flashbacks throughout the movie, because it wasn't just like the whole first act is going to be flashbacks. Like when we needed pieces of information, we got those pieces of information instead of like spending this whole time doing some kind of exposition. But I liked Shang-Chi and Katie's character, or their relationship. It was really fun, and I feel like what everybody else is saying, we don't really get a whole lot of that in the MCU. Just like seeing two characters bounce off each other and really enjoy each other's company. So it was very nice to see that. And I'm shipping them for Shang-Chi too.
Yeah, I mean, it's
She
I compared
Jamie's essentially Katie's grandma right now.
Yes.
I compared their relationship to the relationship Stark had with Pepper in
Yeah.
Iron Man 1, where they're close friends, but you want something. You as the viewer wants there to be more
Yes.
between them because they're just good for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that Katie was just like, whoa, a guy with a metal arm, a sword for an arm, just tried to kill me. And her first reaction was, I'm coming with you.
Yeah, I know. She
No
took
matter
that
what,
surprisingly
I'm
well. I would
coming
have been
with
like,
you.
I don't even know you, dude. What the heck?
Right?
How-
And, like she didn't judge him for anything. Same way that Pepper was essentially escorting Stark's lovers out of the mansion and was just like, whatever, you know, okay, here's the door. And then something actually came from that. Shows you how deeply those characters care for each other. And it's like,
Mhm.
that's something you want to be kept around. If they remain friends, like really good friends, I'm fine. If they're more, I'm fine. It's just a good relationship, whether it's just friends or something else. I don't know. My dad, Tia, agrees with you. He wasn't that fond of Katie. He hearkened it to Jar Jar Binks.
Well, and
Oh,
I wouldn't
wow.
say it was to that level, but kind
Well-
of close. But my thing is that my biggest thing with Katie's character, not only what I just said, but there's a lot of scenes where I would have liked to see just Shang-Chi on his own. And he kept getting paired with Katie, who is, not supposed to be the superhero of the movie. This isn't Ant-Man and the Wasp, And so it's like, for me, I'm like, there's a lot of scenes that it would have been nice just to have like Shang-Chi on his own. And my thing is like, was the studio afraid to have this new actor like in a screen by himself, and they just felt as if he needed to be punctuated by the bigger name being Aquafina? Because it's like, that's my thing. It's like, I wasn't like, I know that we're skipping ahead, but at the end when Katie got her arc and she, is the badass archer, I'm like, I didn't really care about that. I didn't come to this movie for Katie. I came to this movie for
I was
Shang-Chi.
surprised Katie played as big as part as she played in the movie.
Yeah, it was like,
I don't know.
I
I
didn't need
what
her
is
for
going
that.
on?
I don't know. I can.
I'm not saying I don't like her. I'm just saying I was
Aquafina
surprised.
hate.
I don't
Wow.
know. I
don't know.
compare it to. I mean, Black Panther did the same thing. Shuri was just as big as Katie was in that. Sure, their character arcs are different because Shuri means more to T'Challa. But Chadwick didn't have any lone scenes in there either, really. He just had the one with his father. And then Shang-Chi had the one with his aunt. And then Katie comes in. But Katie, to me, was needed because she helped balance it. And to me, I appreciate it. I think it's necessary to have somebody who could bring fun and levity, because there are certain situations that you can't meet dark with dark. And it's why Luke is my favorite character, and it's why I love this movie. They're the same thing. You have to have a semblance of light. There was a moment where Shang-Chi was going to kill somebody, and his dad stopped him. And then you get to the, obviously, like you said, we're moving forward, but he was going to meet dark with dark. So you need that levity in there that can kind of help balance things out, because
I get that.
It's such a serious movie, and it's like, I
feel like it could have been executed better. Maybe a different actress. I'm not arguing the sense of Katie.
I just think you don't like Aquafina that much.
I don't.
That's what it sounds like. I thought it was fine. I mean, because the scene you use as an example is the same thing Shuri did when they're about to fight for the throne, and she comes in and goes, "Wait," and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Just get it on already." And it's like, I didn't really need comedy in that moment.
Well, and I agree.
I get it. It's meant to be levity.
And I agree with that. I agree with that scene in Black Panther, because I never liked that scene, but it was at least acknowledged, I think, with M'Baku saying, this is supposed to be a serious thing and you're a child making light of this. And so it's like we never had that with Katie. It was just kind of like a look and then continue. It's as if the actors were really like Aquafina, really like take it down like
but see, that's the point when my dad brought up, that's the point I made to him. And then Jamie, I'm gonna let you finish before I go to Trayvon. That to me, that's what I appreciated though. Because like Jar Jar Binks was so annoying to viewers. If you watch closely, he's as annoying to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. They equally can't stand the character that the audience can't stand. That was his whole purpose, was to be annoying.
Well,
so if Katie's purpose here was to be that moment that kind of breaks up a serious moment to where we go, oh, Katie, come on. That's maybe what she was supposed to be doing in that arc. I just think Aquafina was just being Aquafina, and that's just naturally who she is. And to me, it flowed well because everybody else was so serious. And it's like, well, if you take her or a different actor, they might blend with all the seriousness and it might come off as dry. I need the humor that really explodes to where I'm like, okay, all right, that was good. Like, I like how you kind of came and broke that up. Because we needed that in that moment. Break that up.
Her character reminds me a little bit of Louis from Ant-Man, Louis and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
I just think that he executes that better. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe it's an Aquafina thing.
Well,
but
also,
I don't want to come off saying that I didn't like. I liked this movie a lot. Like a lot. It's one of my favorite origin movies in the MCU. So it's like I don't want to like focus too much on that. But Joanne, to your point that she's there to break up the seriousness because she's such an annoying character at times, then, and I'll talk about this when we talk, I think in the third act or something, then you didn't need to bring back another annoying character on top of that. Then we had two annoying characters. I didn't need two annoying characters. We were fine with just one.
Well, that was necessary because that closed off a loop that should have never existed in the first place.
Yes,
so that was necessary. I didn't need them as long as we had them, but you needed to close that loop off because it's a loop that should have never existed in the first place. No, I mean, look, I enjoyed her. I'm also a huge Aquafina fan. I love her to death. Everything about her. She is literally like the comedy's Cardi B. She's just her. That's it. She's not trying.
I don't like that
anybody.
comparison, but sure.
I just mean the authenticity.
Comedy's Nicki Minaj.
She's not trying to be someone she's not. She's extremely authentic. You know what, Trayvon? Tiffany Haddish. She's Tiffany Haddish. How about that? But no, I just like people who are just naturally themselves all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like there is no time where I'm not me. So I appreciate that. But I'm sorry, Jamie, did you want to finish up?
Well, just to add on to the Katie thing, I don't think that she like disturbed is like a strong word, but I guess it's the word I'm gonna go with. I don't think she disturbed my viewing experience like as often as probably for Tia, or at least what the impression that I'm getting. Like every once in a while I'd be like, okay, like pulling it a little bit. But I do agree with you, Joanna. I think Katie was definitely like the light to Shang-Chi's darkness, especially with him like having to return to a place where, you know, he ran away from and never really wanted to go back. He definitely needed somebody to kind of keep him from going over the deep end. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on Act 1.
Trayvon, I'm gonna go to you next, man. What were your thoughts on Act 1?
Okay, so that love story that they had at the beginning, I thought was very cute. I was like, okay, so he found somebody that can handle him. I was like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna keep coming back. Eventually, we're gonna have kids, and there we go. I mean, I like that. That's cute. I thought it was cute. Then of course the fighting was amazing. What they were doing. Well, he was fighting or trying to, and she was just evading and just making him look foolish. Like, you're not going to touch me. Like,
just really quickly, I want to add to what you just said there. That is what I took as the deeper meaning of this movie was when you pay attention closer to that fight, notice how aggressive he was.
Yeah.
And how defensive she was.
Yeah.
It was the art of defense. She's not meant to try to kill him. And it was when Shang-Chi learned that I don't have to fight his aggression with my aggression. I have to have the levity of the situation to defend. And in that clarity, I can strike. So I love the fluidity of that opening fight and how she was more so defending her land.
Yeah, it was very much like the airbender style, like that
you.
type of fighting where, you know,
she said it. She said airbender. She said it.
I mean, look, I'll tell you this. After leaving this movie, I thought two things. I thought Simu Liu would be an awesome Goku. And I thought if this movie can make Avatar: The Last Airbender look good, make a live action Avatar: The Last Airbender the right way. Make it the right. Like, did you notice no one had to break dance to get fire summoned or air summoned? It was more so just a technique they were using to summon it. And I'm just like, yes, we need it.
Dragon Ball. The break dancing is for Earth. It's for Earth.
It was horrible. Don't do it for any element. Just.
I've wiped that movie from my mind, so like I don't know what he's talking about, but I could imagine breakdancing being for Earth because you get down in there, you know.
Yeah, just know it was disgusting, Jamie.
Oh yeah, I remember that part. That's why I'm like erase.
Go ahead, Chevron.
Okay, so yeah, so for me, so for Katie, I look at her as she is the audience member learning all this stuff. How would you? I mean, I just feel like how would you react to finding out he can beat all these guys like this? The guy with a lighting up sword is slicing at us. Like, I just feel like some people, like, instead of like panicking, will make a joke out of it to try to like, okay, like I can't explain what just happened, but we almost died, like just try to make it funny.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I look at her. Like, she's seeing all these crazy things, these crazy animals, the dad with the rings, the water thing floating around, all that stuff. Just who was like, of course she's gonna act like that. That's how I looked at it. And I thought she definitely gave him a good balance because he was literally he's a trained assassin since he was a kid, like punching that tree thing or whatever that was over and over again. I was just like, this is horrible. Like, what a horrible childhood he had. Like, I was like, so having her as a friend, probably what he made it draw him to her. Like her, comedic, the way that she acts, the way that she is, maybe a little bit more carefree. Like maybe that's what drew him to her in the first place. Like why they're so attached. And, and for me, that's like she gives me very much ride or die friend. Like when he said, I'm going to do this, she didn't question, like, I'm going to. And he was like, no, I don't want you to go. She's like, I'm going. I don't care what you say. I like that. I was like, this is great. Like, that's a real, like, she will literally die for you probably.
It reminded me.
I was like, this is crazy.
It reminded me of The Town when Ben Affleck's character says to Jeremy Renner's character, I need your help. I can't tell you what it is, but just know we about to go mess some people up. And Renner's just like, what do you need? Like, let's go. No questions asked. What do I need? Do I need a bat? Do I need a gun? Alibi? What do you need? So yeah, it very much like when she was just like, all right, let's go. And he's just like, excuse me? Like, huh? Did that not scare you away? And she's like, no, I'm here for you. Yeah. So that's a friendship I believe we all look to have.
I love that.
What I think is funny is the fact that like she was like, oh no, that scared the shit out of me. But I want you to tell me about this on the plane.
Right, yeah. I want to hear about it later, just not right now. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this, I don't know, it's just amazing. I love their friendship, relationship, whatever it evolves to be. I loved it. But also, I first saw her in Crazy Rich Asians, and I loved how she acted in it. I just love her. I don't know, just by her attitude, I don't know, it's just fun to me. I like it. Cool. When I saw her in this, I was like, okay, cool. And then when I finally be best friends in it, I said, why not? This would be fun. Like, we need some fun in here. Especially with his dad looking like a murderous lunatic. So let's have somebody here like this. You were talking about another character later that gets annoying. I didn't feel he was annoying, just felt like he was there too long, like you were saying earlier. At some points, I was like, okay, we don't not need him to talk this long. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you pointed out, Joel.
Yeah. I mean, because to me, it just didn't make sense. Because you bring him in, and again, we're moving.
He needed to be there.
but you bring him in, and then my issue was you extended him, and then by the end of the movie, we get no mention on what happened to him. Did he go on his way? So I'm like, if he wasn't even important enough for you to loop that off, you could have just left him in the cell and just took the beast and went on your way. So I'm like,
they couldn't talk to him. They couldn't talk to the beast, remember? So
that is true. That was their
yeah.
That was their loophole.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that he showed up for the lineup for the battle and he just had nothing. He was just standing there like, yeah, I'm here, guys.
And he still lived. He still lived.
He played dead. But we'll get to that. That was hilarious. Him and that little thing playing dead.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, Trayvon. Go ahead and finish. We're just sticking to the first act.
First act, you said that's up to the bus, right?
No, up to them leaving.
Oh, okay. I think we're pretty much there about, the bus thing was cool, like the fight and everything. Her discovering that he's something. She was like, what? So you could do all that? Oh, okay. Who the hell are you? Like, I like that. That was cool. Her driving the bus, I knew, like, it just, you knew from the trailer and stuff that was coming. And then her driving the car earlier, I was like, okay, well, when's she gonna drive the bus? And then eventually she drove the bus. I was like, okay, you kind of figured that was coming. Yeah, I wonder how many people died during that, but other than that, it's fine.
During the runaway.
During yeah.
You mean like cars that they hit, or people on the bus?
People. No, just outside people. Like I know they didn't just hit cars.
Yeah, there might have been an old lady or two. Yeah, there might have been an old lady or two.
So I always think about that. The damage that some of these movies do. You're just like, why do people die during that scene? Okay, other than that, it was cool. We'll talk about more when we get there. I'm good. That's it for me right now.
All right, AJ, you're up, man. Your thoughts on this first act?
I love the first act. I love what you guys were saying about the fight scene with Wenwu and Lee. I love the love aspect of it. It kind of reminded me of what is the movie? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yep.
It had that romance elements in there, and the fighting choreography and all that. It just had a story to it on its own. If it was its own, that specific part could have been its own movie, to be honest, because I felt like their interaction with each other just gave an atmosphere of love, and just you can see more. You can see us wanting more of those two interacting with each other a lot more, and we do get a little bit of that within the movie, but not enough for me. I needed more. I needed more of everything in this movie, basically. But I did really like that scene, and then the bus scene. What can I say? That was mind blowing. That specific moment reminded me of Jackie Chan's films. The way he uses the environment within the bus and all of that, I felt like it felt like a Jackie Chan type of style. And I think there was actually a fight choreography that worked on a lot of Jackie Chan's film that was working on this movie as well.
No, the guy that did this did Matrix, I believe.
No, I'm not. You're talking about the second AD, right? The assistant director. You're talking about.
No, I think the main choreographer is the guy that did Matrix.
Yeah, but there's other people within the group that actually worked with Jackie Chan as well. I'll have to.
I see what you're saying.
I'll have to look it up, but
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, everything was perfect. The visual effects was great. If you actually looked at the I think it was the featurette where they show how they worked with the bus and all of that, and then you see it within the movie. It's really mind-blowing. The use of visual effects and CGI was perfect within that scene. And to be honest, I can't say this for all of the Marvel movies, but this movie specifically, execution-wise, with their visual effects was just, it was perfect. I couldn't complain about any shot, any scene, anything visually. I couldn't complain anything else with that. But yeah, the interaction between Katie and Shang-Chi, I really did enjoy. I agree with Juwan. I love their the duality between the two. One's lighthearted, the other one has a little darker um atmosphere to their character, which is fair because of his background. And we'll get into this later within the third act, but I just love how depressed he got, and then you get Katie's character to try to help him go through all of that. Right. And that's one of the reasons why I love the character Katie, because yes, she's hilarious. For me, I didn't find her annoying at all. I laughed at all of her scenes. And even the moments where it was serious with her character, I felt like I agree with a lot what she was saying. I related a lot to her, especially the scene Tia was talking about, the grandma asking Shang-Chi, are you guys going to get married? Because all of that was great for me and relatable. So overall, I did love the first act.
Yeah, no, I myself had a lot of fun in it. What stands out to me is seeing the Mandarin sitting on his throne. Love that with the artwork in the back. I would have liked to have seen, which maybe we'll see it later on, maybe in the sequel, maybe somewhere else. I really would have liked to have seen, because he said the 10 Rings have been around for forever. And Feige hints that the 10 Rings have been around since the conception of the MCU. Obviously, we know one of their factions is the one that kidnapped Stark to experiment on. I would have liked to have seen, when Mandarin was saying that, just little clips of where they were instrumental in the history of the MCU. Because when they kept saying he yearns for power, well, he tried to get the Pym particles. He tried to get the, Tony Stark's arc reactor. I would have liked to have seen his interest in that, and then how he reacted when he failed. Because essentially it was just like, oh, I failed. All right, what's next? What? Huh? That doesn't, you're a conqueror. That doesn't really make sense to me. So I was really kind of disappointed we didn't see that. But I have thoughts on where we could see something like that down the line. I'll talk about it a little later. But yeah, the fluidity of that fight at the beginning of the movie is beautiful. They did a lot of wire work. And huge shouts out to Joel, because he said this. I'm not usually a fan of wire work. I think it's a cheat code to doing action movies, but it made sense because they were showing that she was only able to do it with her ability to bend air, and he was only able to do it with his ability to use the rings as a prong. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just a random, human being that can just jump 80 feet. It's just like, all right, well, that's stupid. So this explained it. So when you see the wire work, you're more accepting of it, because you're like, oh, well, clearly that's how she's able to do it. Matrix did a lot of wire work that was just like, all right, yeah, we could see there has to be lines right there. But no, I enjoyed this first part a lot. The karaoke was hilarious. The uncomfortable dinner, where I think all of us have that one friend that's doing, just the one friend that's doing really well for themselves, that's constantly reminding you how much better you could be doing.
Oh,
if you don't want to be doing better in life.
I'm gonna say really quickly, I would probably stop having dinner with that friend, because it's like, in my group of friends, right? Like, we have people who are working in billing departments at medical centers. I have people who are lawyers, but then at the same time, people who are literally bartenders still. People who live in literally one girl who works at a freaking taco shop. There are none of those like, you should be doing better in your life. Aren't you afraid of wasting it away? And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not a friend. That woman is catty. Cut her out of your life. Like, who cares that you guys are valet parkers? Honestly, like, if you're upset about that and you want to do better for yourself and you say that, then you could be like, oh, well, why don't you do this? But not like, you're not my mom. I don't know. That offended me as someone who like who has heard from people before, like, why aren't you doing more with your degree or something? I want to in that moment.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
not
kind of
happy.
see where she's coming from. Like there is the perspective of, okay, she's just a jerk and she's like, I'm doing good. Why aren't you doing good? But there's also this perspective of like, wow, I don't think my friends are where they could be in life. So let me say something and see like if they feel the same way, if they're good.
I mean, she said it. She said, I've never met two people smarter than the two of you that are just not utilizing it. So I mean, it came from a good place, but it's sometimes who says it, not what is said. Like if my mom said that, I'd be like, you know what? I do have to reevaluate life. But like if AJ came to me one day and was just like, "You're wasting it, young man," I was like, all right.
Well, I'm just saying it's your like family's responsibility. It's your family's responsibility to do that, not your friends. Again, like your friend could be like, I think you could make more money at someplace other than like a parking valet, and you'd be like, yeah, I probably could. It's like, well, blah blah blah. Not like, I don't know. The way she was saying it was in a scolding manner. That was just
No,
like,
she was
really
100% saying it in a manner that most people would not be receptive to. But it does not mean, as Jamie was saying, that it did not come from a good place.
the execution was wrong.
Right. But also, like I said, sometimes it does matter who it's coming from, Like think about your worst enemy could be giving you the best advice, but since they're your worst enemy, you're not taking it as good advice. You're taking it as shut up and get out of my face. And then like if your mom says it tomorrow, you're like, you're really wise. And it's like, well, she said it to you yesterday. But no, I mean, I did enjoy the first act of this. They're in San Francisco, and there was no mention, not one, of the entire Ant-Man 2 situation that happened in that city. And I was very bothered by that. Very bothered by that.
Well, to be fair, that was like, what, 6 years prior?
Was it 6? Oh my God.
Because you had the 5 years of the snap.
I hate time. I hate time. This is why I hate time. This is why I hate it. I hate it so much. I completely forgot. Thank you, Tia. I completely forgot. All right, then I take that back. I enjoyed it. Nothing else to say. I don't even want to talk anymore. Hey, Tia, I'm going to come back around to you. So the second act, we're going to go, is from when they're on the airplane to right before the final battle against the Mandarin. That whole final battle is the third act. So we're going from the plane to the moment they get ready for battle.
Okay, wow, that's a lot to unpack. So thanks.
Well, if you want to, I can go first, so I can like replay things, and then you can go right after if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Second act. First of all, let me just say, I love how meta this movie was. I love how she's like, "Well, what's your real name?" Shang-Chi. And she's like, Shun? And he's like, no. I love how he kept repeating it because I feel as though he was speaking to us who kept trying to say, is this Shang-Chi? No, it's not.
Yeah, because that's definitely how I pronounced it at first. So I was like, Shang-Chi. And then now I'm like, oh, sorry.
And then people thought it was Shang-Chi. It's like, no, that's wrong too. Shang-Chi. So I love how she's just like, Shang-Chi. He's like, yes, there we go. It was such a meta moment, and I loved it. The Fight Club, I loved it. That was an awesome Fight Club. I do desperately hate that was not in Madripoor. I hate every fiber of where it was located with every fiber of my being. But
I think it was just important to have it because I believe it was in Hong Kong, right? Or was it in Beijing?
It might have been Beijing, but
well, I'm just saying that I think it's important. I think it was important for the movie for them to have it in China, for that to be, them going back to China. That's where, Shang-Chi is reunited with his father. That's where kind of everything like really kicks off because Shang-Chi was really trying to get away from his origins. He moved away, he came to America, he changed his name and everything. And so it's like, this was a way for him to like confront his
The Fight Club
past.
wasn't in China. I thought it was,
No.
it was still in America.
Yeah, it was still
Oh,
in
what?
America. It
Yeah.
wasn't in China because they had to fly to the compound.
Oh.
After he took them. I can't remember. It was on the
No,
post.
but they rode in
No.
a helicopter.
It
They
was-
rode in a helicopter
I
back to the
thought,
compound.
yeah, I thought I was in China.
They didn't ride a
no,
plane.
it was in China.
to back-
It was in China.
Yeah, because they rode a helicopter back to the compound. They didn't
I
ride a
can't
plane.
remember.
And
Yeah,
they
The
were on the
plane was
plane
to
too.
the sister.
Yeah.
Can
plane
anybody
was to the
remember the
sister.
postcard?
I'm pretty sure a
It was
post.
China.
It had a Chinese.
Yeah,
at
it had
the
a
bottom.
Chinese ad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. I loved it. I love seeing Wong fighting Abomination. Huge implications. Because we spent the last 2 or 3 weeks swearing up and down that Doctor Strange was a little strange. My question is, why is Wong taking prisoners from the raft and training them? Who is he training them for? Why is he training them? That is a question that I hope gets answered at some point sometime soon. That was very weird to me. I literally thought Abomination escaped and went there to maybe get money or something, and Wong was just there for whatever reason Wong was there for. To know that it was just to blow off steam and train Abomination,
And make some money.
very weird. Well,
you
I
have
don't know.
to, you have
don't
to
know.
imagine, like, working with Doctor Strange and doing that whole thing. That doesn't bring in a whole lot of revenue. He's gonna make some cash.
No, it doesn't. But also, the last time we heard Wong mention money, Doctor Strange took care of it for him. So I mean, I assume at some point Strange is just like, "You're not gonna work, are you?" I guess I'm buying tuna melts every day. Okay. All right.
Where
But
Dr.
no,
Strange
so-
get money from?
well, no, all the money he
He blew it
generated
all.
being oh wait, did he blow it all in the first time?
Yeah, he blew it all trying to fix his hands, right?
Yeah, they said that he was like out
where
of
did he?
funds
so where
because
did
he
he
was
get
trying to
money
look
from?
for all this. Christine just gives him some.
Or maybe
cash
he
every
sold
once in a
off.
while.
No, he sold off stuff in the. Yeah, that I mean, I don't want to look too deeply into that, but that is very interesting.
The magician on the weekends.
Apparently. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So the second act with the Fight Club was really awesome. These were the moments where I loved Aquafina. I loved as Shang-Chi came out, she was checking him out like, damn.
I mean,
okay.
no, I will say
then
she
he
was
just goes-
definitely all of us. She's like, "Where's your shirt?" And he's like, "This," and I'm like, "Who cares?"
I love the way she did it though. She was just like, "Where's your shirt?" And he's just like, I don't know, Katie. Like, they just told me to take it off. I don't know.
She
why.
definitely had that look of like, this guy has been my best friend for years, and I've never thought of him in any other sense other than platonically. But
Yeah.
Yeah, she was very taken aback, like, oh, wait a minute.
What have I been missing this whole time?
Like, I didn't know that was under
Okay.
there.
Yeah, she was just like, all right, I know you can fight now. I know you got the 6-pack. Okay, all right. She's just going down her checklist. Okay.
Maybe Grandma was right about something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, those are just one of the moments where I was just like, Katie is hilarious. And then obviously you see Shang-Chi reunite with his sister. She's definitely not happy to see him. It's
She's
more
so
so,
badass.
you left me. Which I did think was
She really
hilarious.
did, though. God,
I-
he really love her.
I did
Sad.
think it was hilarious that Shang-Chi did leave for his mission,
Mm.
and then literally never looked back for
Yeah,
anything.
he like forgot that he had a
He was
sister.
just like, she'll just do. She'll be fine.
Wow.
I
He
can't.
went out for milk and never came back.
It never
See,
came back.
she was like,
Exactly.
he's like, she'll be fine with our dad, who like is emotionally unavailable ever since our mother passed away and refuses to train her because she's
Yeah.
a girl. She'll be fine.
And I loved how she's like, it's crazy how an hour, how 3 days turns into a week turns into a month turns into 3 years. You're just like, God damn, how long did you wait before you said he's not coming back? I would have only
Serious.
given
That
him
was
a
like-
month before I said, all right, he's not coming back. Like, he's not coming home. But no, I really did like what they did with Jai Ling, sorry. With her kind of just literally just watching the men train and just training herself. That's a true badass. Forget Shang-Chi. That is a true badass. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to watch someone do anything and just pick up on it and perfect it. I saw someone fix my washing machine. I couldn't fix that shit tomorrow.
Yeah, that's like watching LeBron James play basketball and then you become the best basketball player.
Yeah, it's just like I can dunk now. And it's just like, how did you become athletic? Just watch.
No, she's like she was the definition of badass. I
100%.
loved her in this.
Yeah.
100%. So then obviously we get, which by the way, this was the scene that I was just like, this is brilliant writing. This whole movie had brilliant writing, but this really took the cake for me. When he goes, all right, so if you didn't want to see me, why'd you send me this postcard. the postcard? And she's like, I didn't send you a postcard. And she's like, let me see this. And then it was at that moment that they were just like, God damn it, our dad. Like, our dad. That's who. Okay. And she left him. I love how she left him. And then when she comes back to save him, it's like, you left me for dead. And she's like, how does that feel? Did you like it? Did you like it? We get an amazing fight scene. I
was gonna say that scene, honestly, one of my favorite scenes in the movies. And when it was happening, I was like, wow. If it was so well choreographed, and like I'm afraid of heights, so it gave me that like that same feeling, especially when he's telling Katie to jump and she's like, oh hell no. And I was like, I might just die.
I know, because
I
I'm
don't know
surprised
if
Katie went out there. I would be like,
talk about another inspiration that came from another Jackie Chan movie, Rush Hour 2.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
yes, it did.
that's right.
Yes, it did.
Yep.
Okay.
Jackie handled it a little bit better. Or I'm sorry, Chris Tucker's character handled it a little bit better.
No, but I mean, Katie's reaction was very real in that, because it's like, how are you gonna ask someone who's like never done shit like this to be just jump? It's like, that's so easy for superheroes to say.
I'll keep him at bay. You keep walking. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I keep walking.
I'd be like,
my legs
there's
won't
a
move.
lot of them. I don't think you can keep them all at bay. There's like 90 here. It's just one.
Can I just go back inside? Like,
it's cold.
But no, I will say the one thing that frustrated me was I felt like, and maybe I'm wrong here, kind of felt like they built Death Dealer a little bit bigger than what he actually turned out to be. I didn't really get a good fight scene from Death Dealer. And he was
the guy with the makeup.
Yeah, the guy in the blue garb. Yeah, they totally did.
Yeah, he was meant to be some kind of badass, and it was kind of like again, I don't need him to have this huge standoff scene or whatever, but just a really good scene where I'm like, damn, okay, I see why he was the one that was teaching everybody else. Essentially, it was like,
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Disney also thought the same thing, because when I don't know if you guys saw, but they already have Shang-Chi and the Avengers campus, and the guy in the blue garb is supposed to be the guy that's fighting him on stage. So I don't know if like maybe a scene got cut, or they're just like, yeah, he's a really like badass fighter, and then like they just cut it out in the movie or what. But I definitely agree with that.
Well, he had that one big action set piece during that sequence where they were on in the, what was it, the tournament area. Yeah.
Wait, you mean with Shang-Chi right before his dad stopped it?
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm saying I felt, and I said I could be wrong here, but I felt like the trailer had built him up to be a little bit more important than essentially a throwaway villain, which is what he was. He literally was used there, and then that was it. Which, again, I'm not here to say like, oh, give him more screen time. I just thought he was meant to be a little bit more important than that. Especially since they're showing you how he's training everybody. And Shang-Chi, if not stopped by his dad, would have killed him essentially with ease. So I'm like, well, how skilled is he? Like, what are we supposed to measure it at? I think Death Dealer fighting his sister would have made more sense. Because if he had beaten the sister, we could have at least said, damn, he's that skilled that he's able to take her down. Because the way Shang-Chi was fighting him was like, well, it's over. It's just like, well, what? Your name is Death Dealer, and you were easily defeated. Go ahead, Trayvon. What were you saying?
I was trying to think about it. I was like, okay, yeah, she was fighting the sword guy.
Right.
Not Death
Dealer. Wait, say it again, AJ?
I said Razor Fist.
Yes, Razor Fist.
It would have been better if it was the other way around. Razor Fist would have been killed off earlier, whereas Death Dealer would have presented more of a challenge.
Oh yeah, I also wanted to say,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
Jamie.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
But real quick, I'm also confused as to like why Razor Fist was like the only white dude in the group, or at least the only white dude that we could see without the masks on.
You always Marvel does this. It did the same thing with Black Panther too.
It won't have an 100% Asian, 100% Black, 100%. They always have to.
They did
To
the same
them, that is a necessity. A necessity. You have to have that. I think it's at this point contractual. Like you're not allowed to have because think about it, I said this. I said my issue was, and we're not gonna go too deep into this, but Ross was essentially like the great white hope at the end. Like if he didn't do what he did, the mission would have failed. And it's like, well, you couldn't have given that to one of the Dora Milaje? Why couldn't he have just been sitting somewhere quiet, minding his business as he should have, and let them handle their own issues?
Can I point out really quickly on that subject?
Hmm?
I hate that we're like getting all these articles about like no disrespect to Martin Freeman, but there's all these articles like Martin Freeman's new look in Black Panther 2. Look at Everett Ross. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Stop showing me. He is like the blandest of bland. I don't care about him. Show me a picture of anyone else.
I mean, look,
I don't. But I will admit that the Romanian dude was kind of hot. So I guess, like, from a selfish standpoint,
I was gonna say one thing. Yeah, I mean,
did you see those arms? I'm just saying. Did you see those?
I mean,
it's like I get it. I'm just, I was like, I was looking at him and I was like,
look at him.
Fair enough.
If it wasn't for that, I would have like.
If it weren't for that,
you could have given this to somebody else. But because he was eye candy. That's basically it. Like everybody needs eye candy. 10 minutes need eye candy. Here we go.
You guys are gonna yell at me, but like, and I know this is at the end of the movie, but I was really happy that he survived. I was like, yeah, he survived. The eye candy survived.
I agree.
Listen. Jamie and Trayvon are backing me up here, okay? I'm not the only one.
Hey, I'm not judging.
I'm not arguing. If it pleased you guys, that's all that matters. It pleased you guys. So we see Wenwu stop Shang-Chi from killing Death Dealer. Says it's time to head home. I did find it funny how as soon as they land, Wenwu's like, send the ladies to their rooms. And Shang-Chi's just like, you gotta go. Like, he didn't even try to speak up, like, how dare you speak to my sister, my friend? He's just like, you should go.
I was like, really?
You should go. You should go to your room.
What century is this dude from again? And then I was like, oh, he is really old.
He's as ancient as ancient can get. So then obviously we go through Wenwu telling Shang-Chi how it is his destiny to take over for him. He desperately, I mean, like I said, I keep comparing the relationship of Wenwu and Shang-Chi to the relationship of Luke and Vader. That's all Vader wanted, was for Luke to take over, was for them to get rid of the Emperor, and for Vader to have that position in the background as Luke took over as the new feared being of the galaxy. And or if you want to compare it to DC, it's what Ra's al Ghul always wanted for Damien. Ra's al Ghul wanted to retire desperately. I've never seen somebody want to die as much as Ra's al Ghul did. Ra's al Ghul was yearning for somebody to take over his spot. He was begging Batman. But no, I mean, I love this. I'll continuously say this. My only issue with this movie is you should have been more creative with the rings. The rings were not creative enough. The rings in the comics each have individual powers. And in this, they kind of use the rings in this like how Green Lantern uses his rings. Whatever you can conjure up in your mind is what the rings can kind of form out to. It was used as a whip. It was used as like a chain. It was just like, all right, so just what is the limit on what this can do? Like in the comics, one ring was fire. So you knew that ring could only do fire. That ring couldn't do fire, wind. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was my only issue. I need to know that it has some kind of limits here.
I almost felt like the trailer was a little bit misleading when we saw the water stuff.
Yes, I agree.
I felt like they did that just to like for people that thought about that, like, oh, he's using the rings to do that. No,
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
That's what I was
that's all for thinking that. So
I'm saying, but I mean, if you saw that, like, where else you think it's coming from?
I mean,
Like,
that's fair,
you know,
Trayvon. That's exactly what I
like,
thought. Because I
yeah.
thought, like, oh, he can manipulate water or
Yeah,
whatever with the
yeah.
ring. But essentially, they did what they did with it, and whatever. That's how it is. But like I
but
said,
that was my criticism when I first saw them in the trailer. I said that they didn't really have a individuality to them.
right.
From the colors, what I did like was that when they went to a different person, the colors did change depending on what their energy type was. So you had Wenwu, which was blue, and you can see through his arms that I guess his energy is blue. And then
I thought good or evil, but
That's
sure.
how I
Yeah, it's
took
kind of
it.
like
That's how I
Chi
feel.
It
and
wouldn't
Dragon
have-
Ball Z.
It was good and evil. So and I'm gonna let you finish, AJ. But I think they're right. It was supposed to symbolize good and evil because if it went to his sister, I don't think it would have been an additional color. She would have either went to, is she pure or is she not? And if she's not, it's blue. If she is, it's yellow like her brother. I think that's the most simplistic way to do it.
that's
Because
fair.
if
But
it changes per person, it's just like, well, what if I put them on right now? What is it? Was it purple? Like
Like, what are they, mood rings?
Yeah, you can't just keep changing the color per person. It should be
Ooh.
good or bad.
What if he gets dark and it turns blue? Cool. Like
If it turns the blue,
I thought it turned blue
he
for a
gets
second
mad
in
as
the
hell.
movie.
He gets mad as hell and they turn blue.
even when it was off, even when nobody had them, it was blue as well. So it's the rings
true.
just.
That's true.
yes, I think blue is.
At this point, it's just.
I think blue is its dominant color, and Shang-Chi was able to change it. That's why I say I don't think you can change it per person. I think those were two very specific examples. I also don't think those rings would have necessarily just worked for anybody.
Yeah.
So again, it's why I don't like limitless anything. I like limits on everything, so we know exactly how it works, exactly how you can stop it. Infinity Stones, it was very clear what they do, their individuality.
Well, I think they're saving that part for later because they did in the end credit scene. They did explain that they're going to get more in depth with that with Ten Rings.
Well, we're gonna get to that because I have a billion and one theories, so we're gonna get to that. But what are you gonna say, Tia, before I finish it up and back?
I just wanted to point out a scene that I thought was really important in the second act. I really, because now you're like, jumping my memory and everything. I really like the scene when Wenwu asked Katie like what her actual name was, and telling her how important names are. And I liked he touched upon the Mandarin thing. And I know but he mentioned the Trevor Slattery thing. He mentioned that it literally is like a Chinese American dish. Orange chicken, orange beef, whatever, and I like that he did that because there are a lot of racist tropes in the early comics of Shang-Chi. And I like that this movie did what it could to really kind of take that back and, rewrite it and really make it where it's something that, those of Chinese descent can really be proud of. Because I saw someone on like Twitter, kind of say, well, why would they use Shang-Chi? There's so many like racist stereotypes in the comic books. And it's like, I think that the whole point of this movie was for them to really rework it so that people, could be proud of this character as opposed to looking back and going like, oof, what was anyone thinking writing these? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
well, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I like how they updated it. I like how Kevin Feige updates everything comic wise. Name, if we gotten the Mandarin what we got in the comics, it would have been a huge cliche. Basically, it wouldn't have worked very well.
I don't mind you changing his look, but I was very upset that he didn't refer to himself as the Mandarin.
Well, he did. He did.
No. He said that's what others called him. He never referred to himself as the Mandarin. He said those are one of the names that he was called. To me, that was his name. That was his name. It's as simple as that. You can call him Wen Wu. Don't mind that. The only reason I am not bitching right now about him not referring to himself as the Mandarin and the Mandarin only is because he didn't survive. If he had survived, I 100% want him to be called he's the Mandarin. It's like someone that would be bitching. Why are you calling him Black Panther? Why can't he just be the Panther? That's his name. It's not meant to offend you. That's literally just his name.
I mean, technically, it's a title, not his name. That's why they had. That's why they had that one scene that specified the importance of real name.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a title, but again, it's everyone has that. Iron Man. His real name's Tony Stark. Call him Iron Man. To me, I see that with villains. If you have an actual name that you use that name. I was just glad it was mentioned.
Isn't this not the first time they've done that? From what I understand, doesn't M'Baku have a name in the comics that
Maybe I wasn't happy with that either. I mean, I get the stereotypical tropes of calling someone black a monkey or whatever the case may be. I get it. But again, I don't think it was done to be offensive. The name was Mayonnaise. But again, they went a whole different route with that character that upsets me way more than his name. Making him a good guy was disgusting enough. Let alone not
good guy adjacent. I mean,
yeah,
kind of,
Bro, they did everything.
You said M'Baku was a good guy adjacent?
They did everything.
He was definitely a good guy.
They did everything but make out in Infinity War. What are you talking about?
You never know. Maybe in
Black
Panther 2, he'll be the bad dude. You never.
I will have no interest with that because there's no T'Challa. There's no fun in that. No, keep him as a good guy now.
He's a good guy. He's not changing that.
Yeah, I mean, you blew through your load of Black Panther villains in one movie. They either died or you made them a hero. Those are literally all the biggest Black Panther villains. So to me, at that point, it was just whatever. Keep it that way. But yeah, no, I was very upset.
Got a lot of Black Panther villains you can use. It's just not.
No. I'm saying those were the major villains, not the only villains. What do you call them? What was what's his name? The guy that's directing Venom and Carnage.
Andy Serkis?
Yes. Who's Andy Serkis playing in that? I'm completely drawing a blank.
Wait, what?
Who is he? Claw. Ulysses Claw. Ulysses Claw is a huge Black Panther villain. And he made one movie.
Technically two.
Well, he was in one DLC.
You say one thing.
I mean, he's gone.
You said one DLC. Yeah.
Anyway,
not still around.
So we can see Wen Wu express his plan.
I like how you explained Age of Ultron as a DLC. Okay, go on.
Are you talking about the Avengers game?
Yes, I am.
AJ wasn't even laughing at the right.
He came and gone. He's gone.
I thought you were talking about Age of Ultron.
No, I was talking about the game.
Anyway, so Jamie, I'm gonna pass it to you. What were your thoughts on the second act? And remember, we're sticking from when they got on the plane to we get right before the end battle.
Well, I really liked how they started it where he's like explaining the story, and then we get like the flight attendant like, oh, would you like beef or vegetables or something like that?
Vegetarian.
Or vegetarian. I thought that was I thought that was really like a slick way to like transition from that. I also liked how they talked about like you named yourself Sean when it's that close to Shang-Chi. Like, no wonder your father found you, you dummy. I thought that was pretty funny. And I also thought that like them like kind of like driving around, I'm pretty sure it's China. I don't know. I might be wrong, and I'm sorry if I am. But them just like driving around and looking at like the sights of like to the Fight Club, like it reminded me of like I think of a lot of things like certain moments, like I just have a soundtrack that plays in my head, and I just thought of that song and Up, where like the old guy and his wife are just like happy and they're running around and having picnics and stuff. and she was looking out the and Shang-Chi, Katie was looking out the taxi window. It was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like I'm like, oh, it's a cute little date, even though they don't feel that way yet. But yeah, that thing with the scene with Abomination and Wong, I was like kind of taken aback because I'm like, oh, like this isn't like a major, like I don't know, we didn't get to see them for that long, so that made me like very curious as to where that's going next. And the fact that Wong is training Abomination, I'm like, oh, like there's a lot going on there. Like Wong's been busy. He left and he just got to work. And then the fight between Shang-Chi and his sister, I thought was really cool. And it was interesting that they were the fight was kind of like aiding their conversation, I guess, and kind of like it physically showed just like how upset they were with each other versus like Shang-Chi kind of be like, hey, like, can you relax for a second? Like, I know I left, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. And let's see, up to the final battle, what else? Oh, the part where Shang-Chi like says goodbye to his mother, that was that was a really good scene. I felt that 100%. And I'm also well, that's act 3 stuff. That's act 3 stuff. What else in act 2? Oh, getting introduced to the sister. And I thought it was funny that Katie betted on his sister instead of Shang-Chi's. Like, what like what kind of friend are you? She's like, shh, we got money.
That is essentially what she said. She said, shh, it's a lot.
Yeah. Like, I got you. And then that fight scene on the side of the building was super, super cool. I was actually like, I don't usually get like nervous for like the actor or like the stunt people when they're doing stunts, but that was when I was like, oh, I would not want to be there at all. That was scary. But that was also really cool. And I like that. Is her name what's Shang-Chi's sister's name?
Xialing.
Xialing. Okay. I also liked how Xialing initially left Shang-Chi and then like came back. Like, now you know how it feels. Because I was really like, is she like, did she just leave the movie? Like, what was she just left? Like, dang.
Her and what's his name? Ronnie, the comedian. They were just like, yeah, peace out.
John.
It's
Oh yeah.
John.
They were just like, bye.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like they shut the door, they closed the gate and everything. Like, wow. So the fact that
she's
she
really
came
holding
back,
grudges.
yeah, the fact that she came back surprised me. So I was glad to see that they were able to like, I didn't like what you did, but you're still my brother, so I'll come back and help you. And then seeing well, oh my gosh, I can't remember all of these names. I already have a tough time enough with English names. But Shang-Chi's dad, to see
Wenwu.
like
Wenwu.
Wenwu, that's what it is. To see like the way that Wenwu was able to instantly gain control back over Shang-Chi, like as soon as like he felt his presence, he just fell right into line. I'm like, wow, that's he kind of switched up on everybody there. That was a really cool scene for me as well. And then what else? I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I that was quick to where he kind of fell in line. It was one of those things where it's like, that's when you know your parents did a really good job, is when they can still parent even when you're grown as hell. To where they have that moment where they say, I'm sorry, you were talking to who? And you go, my bad, mom, my bad, dad. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know, like, they did a really
oh my gosh
good job.
That makes me think about like after me and my brother came back from college of our freshman year, my brother's just like cursing as if like he didn't care. He's just like shit, fuck, like all this stuff in front of my parents. And my dad is like, I don't know if that's how you talk to your friends, but that's not how you're talking to me. And he stopped after that. I was looking at him crazy too, like, why are you what is wrong with you? I'm like, why are
trying
you
to die,
talking like
man?
this?
Like, what is you trying
Like,
to
we can
die
talk
here?
to each other like that, but no, not in front of that. That's no. So yeah, I felt for that scene.
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of those parenting moments where I'm sure every parent that watched this movie was just like, yep. Like looking at that could be me and you. But no, yeah, the scene you're talking about with Shang-Chi and his mom, it was just as impactful. Like there's 3 moments in the MCU that will always get me. 4, I'm sorry. Thor with Frida in Endgame. That's my all-time number 1. T'Challa with his father is my number 2. Stark finding out that his dad really did love him and he didn't value work over being a father. It was just he needed to build a legacy for Stark, or what was all this for? And then my 4th one would be Shang-Chi saying goodbye to, because to me, I think what would have been more personal is if there was a spirit of her in some essence that like could physically hold him and tell him that, you know, it wasn't your fault. I don't blame you. You were a child, you know, you should have never been put in that situation. Something just more tangible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like the
that's
fact
one
that
for
like
that.
we didn't get any kind of spirit from her, and then is it wait what was the dad's name again?
Winwoo.
Wenwu. I always said Wing Wen. I don't know. When Wenwu was talking about feeling his mother's presence, just move past it. Just move past. It's like feeling his mother's presence and hearing her talk to him. It just made it even more painful to see that like her spirit can refute, like, no, I'm not talking to him. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like that just hurt even more. I'm like, that's just a terrible situation.
Yeah, I mean, it there wasn't really a spot for it, so I'm not really saying that it should have been, but it would have really hit more if as you know, we're gonna get to this, but as Wenwu was dying, it was kind of you seeing his soul with Shang-Chi's mother, essentially as like, you know, kind of like in Star Wars where the Force Ghost will kind of pop up and it's kind of just like, yo, dope, look at this, you didn't die, but we did, but cool, you know, whatever. It could have been one of those moments where it's like, you know, we're seeing both of his parents ascend, and that's the strength that he needs to actually, you know, persevere. But yeah, to me, seeing the physical manifestation is very important, because if that moment of Thor and Frida was more so just Thor kind of feeling his mom and not really interacting, that scene wouldn't have hit. That scene would have kind of just been like, well, that should have been a deleted scene. It's Frigga? I thought it was Frigga. It's not Frigga?
You said I thought you were saying with a D. It
Oh
didn't
no,
sound
Frigga. I was saying Frigga.
right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But no, so I mean that to me hit. So I'm glad you brought that up. That was very, very, very important. And as far as suit reveals go, this wasn't the coolest. I'm used to the real flashy suit reveals. This was kind of just like, I think I would have
No,
liked more.
I loved you're talking
Freaking
about Shang-Chi's.
scales.
Yeah, I would have liked it.
Shang-Chi's?
I would have liked it more if it did something. Like
Oh my
if it
God, no!
contributed
I
I can
love
kind
it.
of
It's
see it.
beautiful.
ability.
Like I feel like it was kind of just like, here you go, and then they
Yeah, it was
had it
kinda just
instead
like,
of
you
like seeing
close
it
your
being
mouth.
made or something, or like
It
getting the
felt more
dragon
authentic
scales.
than other
Sure, you
costumes
upgraded.
to me.
Wait, hold on. Let's do one at a time. What were you saying, AJ?
I said it felt more authentic than most costumes in the MCU to me.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
No. The
Better.
costume I don't have an issue with. I said as far as costume reveals go, as far as like, here is you now seeing what your costume looks like as you're about to put it on. This was, I don't know.
I guess it would have been kind of tough because everybody else was already wearing the dragon scales too. So
Right, yeah. So it was kind of just like, it really did feel more like, here, your mom left you clothes. And it was just like, oh, dope. It kind of felt like their response
As
Christmas morning.
moms do.
I was about to
Yep.
say, like Christmas morning when you're expecting a PS5 and it's like, here's some footy pajamas. It's like, why do you think I want this? Like,
like,
give
is
me
there a
something
PS5 in it?
Yeah, like Can I
I had
stream
one-
games from it? Go ahead, Trayvon. I'm sorry.
I had one little problem with that. Like, how does she know to have the right size for them?
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Let me just say
What's-
this.
Was she gone?
No,
I'm just
no, no, no.
saying.
When it comes to movies and TV,
I know.
never think about it.
I couldn't help but think of it though. Like when I saw, I was like, how long was she not there?
Never think about
Like-
it. I mean, Trayvon, it's the same. It's the same way.
I know,
Sam
I
and
know.
Bucky are in Madripoor, and Sharon just goes, "Oh, don't worry, I got clothes for you." What? How? You didn't even know I'd be here. How do you have clothes that just so
From
happen-
men that she was with, that kind of fit for me. Like I
That's
was
even
like,
weirder.
Mm.
That's even
Uh,
weirder. When it comes
It
to
worked for
movies
me,
and TV, that is the unwritten rule that
There's some things
They
in
always do.
movies that are like suspended belief.
I
It's, you
know,
know,
I
the
know.
costumes can fit perfectly. No one has to use the bathroom. Like, can you imagine in this thing? Someone's like, I have to pee. Like, you know,
right,
I'm
yeah.
surprised.
The bathroom part
I'm
is
surprised
off
Katie
screen.
didn't.
The bathroom part is off screen. You don't have to.
But that would have been
Or
hilarious
something.
if they did. If it was kept in the movie, it's like, damn, I gotta pee. That was so random.
Has
no, go ahead,
anyone talked? Sorry, because I went to go get myself some carrots. But
no, go ahead.
has anyone talked about like are we talking about the reunion between Shang-Chi and his aunt, and like one of my favorite scenes being where the aunt gave Shang-Chi's sister the weapon and said, like, you train with everyone else now. Oh my god, I wanted to cry during that scene. I was just like, she gets to train with everyone. She doesn't have to just watch. I can't. Like, to me, those scenes are so important to me, and I love that so much. I thought, like, I love the little training montage. I thought it was great. And then I love when Shang-Chi's like, you know, goes to his aunt and he's like, okay, teach me how my mom was able to defeat my dad. And it was just like beautiful. There's this really nice little pause in the middle of the movie, even though they're fighting. It still felt like this like pause to breathe and just see this like beautiful like choreographed scene happen. And I thought that was really nice. I really did.
And not to call you out, Trayvon, but that's how you do a break in the action. It was explained. It was said how long it would take Wen Wu and his forces to get there. So it's like, well, you need to fill the time somehow. I know. Let's try to become good at certain things. So that was perfectly placed.
What are you calling it out
rather
for?
rather than, you know, just randomly trying to fix a boat in the middle of, you know, a complete disaster that's going on.
Wait,
Anyway,
what's that from?
What complete disaster was
Falcon and
going
Winter
on?
Soldier.
What
He
complete
just
disaster
lost
was
it.
going on?
He just beat somebody and the guy still exists. He's still walking around. You didn't even
What
check
is
to make
supposed
sure
to
there
do?
was justice.
You need to
What
hate.
about
You need to
you?
stop hating on that. important.
That's not how you do a break in the action. That's just a break. That's like a commercial. Like you could just go eat at that
His
moment.
wings were also broken. You forgot that, right? He didn't
Yeah,
get
and
to see till Bucky broke
did he
it to
try to
him.
fix them? No, he just gave up, right? Yeah, that's what heroes do. Anyway,
Fix them for what?
you know, because you're not a quitter. Anyway, AJ, I'll go to you. What were your thoughts on the second act?
Yeah, I actually thought it was better than the first act, even though the first act was amazing. Emotional wise, what was Tia was talking about, the moments where you get Xiling and the aunt. I can't remember her name, but you get moments like that within it, and you also get moments with Shang-Chi, and you get moments with Aquafina's character, Katie, and there's just a lot of moments where you get it's like it was pretty much like a long break, but it still gave you important moments within the movie between Act 1 and Act 3, which was, for me, it felt refreshing. And then you get to the big action sequence within Act 3, which we will talk about later. But I just love the emotional depth that Act 2 gave us.
Yeah. I mean, Act 2 definitely set. This was probably one of the most unflawed movies. Forget just Marvel. Unflawed movies. It didn't really have many, if really any glaring issues.
You can tell everybody took their time, from the screenwriting, cinematography, even the score. The score was amazing in this movie as well. So
I was upset I didn't hear more of the song from the trailer. I love that song. I could listen to that song on loop every day. But yeah, everything of it was awesome. I even have to just go back before I go to you, Trayvon. Go back to the fact that Shang-Chi in his apartment had a Stankonia poster. Do you know how dope that is to have an Outcast poster in Shang-Chi? That was
also
dope
Hustle
as
and
hell.
Flow.
Yeah,
Hey, did you see that Hustle and
yeah,
Flow?
yep.
I love it. I love
and Warriors Warriors. I'm like, God damn, he has good
it.
he just has good taste. So yeah, everything about this movie was awesome. I can't think of anything bad. That I thought came out of this episode. This I can't think of not one bad thing. This is as flawless as you can get for a movie. What was I gonna say? Trayvon, what were your thoughts on this second act?
Okay, what is this spanning again? What is
Huh?
this from where to where?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said what's his name again. I'm like, who?
No.
It's from when they get on the plane to right before they prepare to for the final battle.
Like Jamie was saying, I really like the plane conversation, like him explaining. So I'm an assassin. Yes, I could probably kill all these people on here if I decided to. Yes, probably. But you're still sitting beside me. You're fine. Cool. All right, cool. Let's go keep going. But I do like, you could tell that he was kind of lying when he was like, I didn't go through with it. I was like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You did it.
Well, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought he was telling the truth. It wasn't until we found out what the mission actually was. I was just like, oh, there's no way you didn't kill that guy. But before I was kind of just like, yeah, I could picture a 16-year-old, which by the way, that was right out of the comics. That was from the comics.
Oh,
His dad
okay.
sending him out on a mission when he was 16.
Okay.
He literally, like he said, he would do anything for his dad. It wasn't until he found out how evil his dad was, I'm talking the comics now, that he decided to go against his dad. But that mission part was accurate to the comics in the character. But yeah, I did believe it. So it caught me. It caught me, sure.
Okay. Let me see. So what else happened? So when they met Fake Mandarin.
Trevor.
Yeah, Fake Mandarin. So we met him. That's what burns me about Iron Man 3, so I never watched it again. So so when they met him and all that stuff, that's nice. And then he was in there, talking to the animal. I was okay, this is cute, this is funny. Can we move on? Like, that's the only part that I just wasn't with. I was like, okay, he's here. Yes, we get it. I still understand, like,
it was too long.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe because I think I said, like, no disrespect to Ben Kingsley because he's a phenomenal actor.
Right.
And I could have sworn I saw an interview one time where he's like, yeah, they just keep bringing me back because apparently the response for Trevor Slattery is just like so good. I'm like, where? Because
No.
I don't know one person who, like, prior to Shang-Chi getting announced, like, people were like hating hard on this fact that like the Mandarin that we have in the MCU is you. So I don't know who is telling you that there is positivity coming your way for this.
Yeah, for me, I've been like, I was fuming after that movie. I was so pissed. I was like, this is so stupid. I was like, why do they do this? And then when they did the one shot, I was like, all right, I'll give y'all like a little bit. Give y'all a little bit. I'm still mad, but I'll give y'all a little bit here. I was like, we still didn't see him though. Like, okay. And now they brought that around. I do like that they closed that loop by saying, yes, he broke him out of prison. Still don't understand why he's like walking around or whatever he was doing in there.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna die. Like, I thought that the Mandarin was gonna kill him, not like make him the court gesture and shit like that. Like, I mean, I was really, okay. By the way, Joanne, I was really hoping that Scoot McNairy would have been in this movie. I'm like, oh, they're putting all this focus on the one shot, I see, and I was like, Scoot McNairy, no.
We're not that lucky. We're not that lucky.
Sad about. Go ahead, Trayvon, though. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Let's see. So I mean, they got there. That was fine, but when he met his aunt, I thought it was she was so inviting. Like, I don't know, it just like threw me off a little bit at first. I was like, oh, she's just welcoming him right on in, like, come on, I'm glad you're here. And he made it seem like it was so difficult to like get to this city or town or whatever, or this village. Like, I was like, how did it, like, I knew they'd do the path, but I thought it'd be harder for them to just get in there like they did. Like the way that when we was talking about it, like we were rejected from there.
It was difficult for Wenwu because he wasn't pure of heart. They explained that part where they didn't accept him for who he was because of his past. That's why.
I mean, I guess.
Wait, you're saying it was easy for who, Shang-Chi to get in?
Oh yeah, how they all just kind of drove in. Like, I mean, I know they need the path,
they accepted them because they're family.
No. I see what Trayvon's saying, but that was explained with the little creature. The creature is who guided them. It's just, here's the thing: you have to find it, and then once you find it, they have to allow you in. Excuse me. So once he found it, as you saw, the gatekeepers were there saying, "Go back." And it was when their aunt came out that she then accepted them in. But it's just you have to navigate through that path. No one's ever been able to navigate. So they had a navigator now, with the creature. So that's how Shang-Chi and them got in there. My only question was, I thought that the whole entrance to that place was on a cliff. How the hell did they drive up there to get onto that cliff?
The entrance was how can I explain this? The entrance, the cliff wasn't the entrance. The cliff was there as a scapegoat to make people think that they're going to the right place, but it's
the maze closes you off.
Yeah, that's why in the beginning the woods closed up on them and they were about to die.
Right.
That's when Ben Kingsley character, I don't care about his name, but his character was saying that the forest will eat you up.
Right.
And that's the reason why the cliff was there instead of, it wasn't much more of an entrance, but more of a
maze.
Yeah. To get people to exit the forest.
The other thing I like the story when she was like telling about, there were these creatures that were killing off all our other cities, and like for me that just made me think of Iron Fist. Like, for me, that's all I thought about. I was like, oh, it's one of those cities, Kunlun. Like, like that's all I thought about.
I really had
it's fairly similar to.
Well,
yeah, that's what I thought about.
This is a realm. That's one thing I think we have to express. This is a realm. So Kunlun is another realm. So to me, it's like, well, yeah, I think Kunlun does exist. Yeah. I think we can get it in in a Shang-Chi Part 2 movie, where maybe like, we'll get to this, but I do think that Xialing will do the first ever massive tournament. Like, the best fighters around the world, around the realms, come for a tournament, and then that's when I think we get Danny Rand. And then we'll obviously get the explanation of Kunlun. But yeah,
we'll most likely also get an introduction to Shang-Chi's half brother, half sister, as well within the sequel, because he does have a half brother and half sister. Well, a couple half brothers and a couple half sisters.
We'll see, because I really do think Xialing was supposed to be that. I think she's supposed to represent that. I think she'll be the villain for Part 2, and I think if you're smart, Part 3 is Fing Fang Foom, and then that's how you wrap up Shang-Chi. That's one big bow, and I think that would make the most sense.
I don't think they're going to use Fing Fang Foom. I think they used them as an adaptation of the Protector. I think that's
no. I mean, let me say this. Yes, could have been. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, could have been, but I hope not.
But I'm hoping that beacon is for Fing Fang Foom. We'll get to that.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
But that's what I'm hoping, is that the beacon is for the actual being that it came from.
Wasn't because again, for me for not having like the knowledge of the comic books, but wasn't the dragon that we got in this supposed to be Fing Fang Foom? They just didn't call
Yeah.
him that.
No,
One can say it was supposed to be Fing Fang Foom, but
so Fing Fang Foom can harness the
Yeah.
rings. And the great protector seems to be someone they created because they weren't going to use Fing Fang Foom in this movie. I
Fing
don't
Fang
think he was
Foom is
being.
the creator of the rings, so they'll most likely use Fing Fang Foom for either the sequel or.
It's why when his mom was narrating at the beginning, she kind of gave you the same origin that Joker gave you in The Dark Knight. To where she said it came from a crater, he got it from a tomb. It's not really known exactly where he got it from because he stole it from Fing Fang Foom. He stole it. That's why I thought they went with the rings that he puts on his wrist, because if you're stealing the rings that fit comfortably on a dragon's hand,
They'd be that.
they have to be massive.
Yeah.
So then you have to put them on your wrist. That's what I thought. So that's when I was like, okay, I can accept that. That's fine. So hopefully that's the long game. Again, I don't know. If it's not, I've gotten over it the same as the rings.
I can see that happening.
But I hope that is indeed truly is the true case. But Trayvon, I want you to lead us into, excuse me, I want you to lead, because it's your go. So I want you to lead us into Act 3. Act 3 is just from when the battle starts, literally to just the end of the movie. And then we'll talk separately about the end credit scenes.
Yeah, when Wenwu was, it's just so funny how he was walking through while everybody's fighting. He's like, all right, so y'all handle this. I'm gonna walk through here now. Thanks. And I'm gonna get over here. And I really like how he used the rings, like to propel himself, to, he just had so many different ways of using them. I thought it was really cool. So when he made himself fly over there, I thought that was neat. And then I just didn't understand why he didn't see the creatures coming out and stopped. I was like, you don't see.
I don't think he cared. I think the more he kept hearing the voice, that was his only focus. I think he just didn't care.
Also, I was expecting the creature to be more sophisticated or something. I don't know, or talk.
Like in a suit?
No, like the creature was, doing mind tricks on him or whatever. Like, so I expected it to, I don't know, have some not just a mindless creature that it gave us when it got out. Like, I just thought it would do something else. But it's still fun. It's still something fun to fight, whatever. I mean, all it matters to me anyway. I just want to see Shang-Chi go, become an airbender and use his
Stop saying that.
That's
Stop
what it looked like
genre.
to me. That's what it looked like to me. Sorry. That's how it looked to me. He was bending air. He was controlling the rings. I mean, hey, it's fun to me. It looks great. He got his powers. I'm gonna call it that because that's what I saw. I'm glad he's not just a martial artist. He got some abilities as well, and I'm gonna stick with that. And you can
certainly he doesn't have abilities.
Well,
AJ, I already tried to explain this to Trayvon. He views it as abilities.
He was airbending.
Abilities. But
he was airbending.
He's just, at the end of the day, he is just a great fighter that learned a technique that just so happens, Trayvon, to manipulate air in his technique. But it's not like an ability.
It's not normal. It's not like Winter Soldier.
It's not like you could do that like here. Like, go ahead, Joanne.
That's what I'm
try
saying.
it.
Yeah,
but then it's an ability. But then it's an ability. It's an ability. If it's something that you can't do, like,
normally,
like a normal person, then that would make it an ability. I'm just saying.
I don't understand that. Huh?
That you're saying that Trayvon won't listen in saying that, like, because he's saying Shang-Chi has powers, and you're like, no, he doesn't have powers. And it's like, well, Shang-Chi did something that like normal people can't do, ergo powers.
No, but what I was confused on was what are you saying are the powers to him? What he was doing with the air?
Oh, I mean, I was just trying to back up Trayvon here.
Oh, no.
I was just trying to help him out with his argument.
What he was doing with the air, that's supposed to be a technique. That's not like a superpower. That's
See,
all.
okay.
I'm trying to say.
I guess for me, okay. He called his mom's. He said, "You don't have your powers anymore." Did he say that to his mom? She was like, "It's fine. I'll be fine." She said, I left that with the Great Protector." I was like, "I'm sorry. That means she had some kind of enhancement."
Well,
Right?
you also have to remember that was
Also
a
what was
child.
given to him.
That
I'm
was a
saying, but the
child
same thing
saying
was
that.
given to him in the water. He gave him the abilities in the water. That's you saw him doing whatever
No, he did it
He
before.
learned that
did
from
it
his aunt.
before.
He learned that from his aunt when they were
It's something
training.
that can be taught. It wasn't
I know what
It's
I
not
saw.
a superpower. That's all I'm trying to tell you, Trayvon. It's not a superpower. He's not gonna go fight bad guys with air. That's all I'm trying to say. That wasn't a superpower. It's a fighting technique. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just a fighting technique. You want him to have powers. That's what it comes down to.
He does have them. He does have them. You're not gonna change my mind. He does have powers. And that's it.
I mean, he was lasting through things that normal people would not be able
We're
to.
not saying he's not superhuman. He just doesn't have.
He just doesn't have superpowers. That's it. I mean, what is
Batman can survive a lot of things. He's not.
Hold on. I'm out. Here's how I'm gonna poke a hole through what you and T are saying. In the Marvel Encyclopedia that I have, it states no powers, just kung fu, but he's able to defeat supervillains with just the kung fu. So he's not enhanced by anything. He's just a skilled fighter. That's it.
Check. How old is that encyclopedia?
Jackie Chan's kung fu.
Last few years, AJ.
Jackie Chan was not doing this stuff. I don't care. Like what y'all saying.
He's not supposed to be Jackie Chan.
Shang-Chi uses chi to empower himself, much like Danny Rand does.
Okay.
But in a different level. He still uses something that's within himself to be able to do things that normal humans can't do. So
end of the day, AJ, do you believe that
he doesn't have superpowers? He does not have superpowers.
That's it. That's all I was doing.
Chi, which everybody has. So it's not a superpower.
I will be retweeting people saying the same thing I'm saying.
Okay, they're wrong. They're wrong.
You keep trying to tell us that
those are the same people. Those are the same people that say I read comics but don't read comics. Those are the same people.
Doesn't make it right. And I told you, Trayvon, him not having powers is unique because when you do bring in Danny Rand, there needs to be a difference between the two. If they both have powers, it's like, well, why do I need that guy that's good at kung fu but his fist lights up? If this guy's good at kung fu and he can manipulate air and he can use rings, it's like I don't need both. What does one do that the other can't? So you need to differentiate. That's why one does not.
One has a glowing fist. Seriously? One has a glowing fist. The other one is an airbender and has rings. Like it's fine. It's fine. We're all gonna have fun.
He's not gonna have those rings for much longer. I'm just gonna say that now. He's not gonna have them for much longer.
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
I think he
won't. He doesn't want to go through what his dad did and remember his mom the way that he did. That when Wu did.
I don't know. He didn't seem like he was ready to give up those rings.
Exactly. He's happy with them, and I'm happy for him.
He gave them to
No, he didn't. He gonna take them back. What you mean? He go like this.
He
go like this.
He didn't give them to Wong. Wong was just showing him about the rings. I don't think Wong kept them.
He's not going to use the rings. He's not going to use the rings anymore.
Okay.
I don't think you're right about that. Okay. I want to bring up a point that Jamie brought up. Actually, Jamie, I'll just let you say it. I'm sorry. I was going to say it for you, but I'm like, wait, no, Jamie's back. You can just bring up the point that you were saying, Jamie, and give me your thoughts on the third act.
Oh yeah, so something I forgot to say in my summary of the second act was that Talo felt a lot like Wakanda in the way that it's like very secluded and has its own like unique characteristics than like the rest of the world does, or at least like America does. And I also really like the fact that they brought in like traditional like Chinese myths, mythical creatures, and like made them into like real guardians that can like help them when they're fighting. I thought that was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
But going into the third act, I also did really like the whole training sequence, especially for Kate, 'Cause I feel like Kate was being like strung along for this whole journey, and she felt like I can't really help or I can't really do anything to be of use to anyone. And so giving her the chance to like try out a bow and figure out that she's really like a good archer. I thought that was really cool and added to her character arc. And I also like that oh my gosh. It's like ah the names are killing me.
Who?
Uh of his sister,
Oh, Xialing.
Xiling.
Xialing. Okay. So I also like that Xialing was able to kind of find a place where she belonged, or at least I thought that was going to happen until like we see later on. And see that like there are places where you can be treated as an equal. Not everybody's going to be like, because you're a girl, you can't do X, Y, and Z. Um, and I think that like that really heavily inspired her, and we see like later on that she kind of does mirror the training system that they had in Talo. And I also really like the aunt. Like I feel like just in real life she would be like a really nice person to meet. Like she felt very like warm and inviting, which is really nice to have that presence, since we don't really get to see Shang-Chi interact with his mom when he's like an adult. And getting to that fight scene to the end with hold on, I got the wiki open so I can find his name with
Wenwu?
Wenwu.
Wenwu.
Yeah, Wenwu.
Gotcha.
When he walked through the crowd and like nobody was just like paying any attention, like, oh, we're not fighting him, like they just let him go. I thought that was pretty funny, but it also kind of shows that like, yeah, we don't want to fight him. Like he can go on. We'll fight the grunts. And to see the way that he used the rings to like fly across, I agree with Trayvon, that was also pretty cool. And just like I feel like his kind of obsession with bringing their mom back, I think is like Chin, I think that's at least her last name, bringing her back, it kind of added some depth to the character for me, because it's like after she was gone, I was assuming like, oh, I guess I'll go back to conquering or whatever, since I don't really have anyone to hold me back, or anyone that I really care about in that same way. But to see that he was still trying to find some way to bring her back, I thought that was a really nice addition to his character. Even though it did get him killed in the end, and then to have like that fight between Wenwu and Shang-Chi, where Shang-Chi is kind of like mirroring his mother in the way that Wenwu and Chen's like first interaction. I thought that was really cool. I always thought it would have been funny if like Shang-Chi would have smiled at him like the way that Chen smiled at him when they were first fighting. And I also like the Guardian Dragon. I thought that was pretty cool. And I was kind of like, is that where they get the dragon scales from? Or is it like something else? Like maybe, I don't know, because he was just kind of there. And I don't remember seeing another dragon. So I'm like, maybe he just like drops by every Monday, like, here you go. And then he just leaves. I was like, I just need to shed some scales. Yep. But to see the way that they had like involved him in the combat, whereas like it was Shang-Chi riding him, and then they also had like it was also fighting other creatures as well, was really cool. The big like demon villain thing at the end, I was almost starting to think that because of the tentacles, it was maybe like the same monster that we've been seeing in What If, because we never really get to see like all of it. But because like I don't know, I don't think it's the same now. But initially when we saw those tentacles, I was like, oh, maybe it's the same thing, but I don't think so. But yeah, I really liked how that played out with the giant demon thing. I think what Trayvon was saying, I kind of wished it was a little bit more sophisticated, because it was really easy for him to or it to manipulate Wenwu. But overall though, I still really enjoyed the fight sequence, or like the final battle. And I also really liked how they honored like all the people that fell, that to have like so that they could live another day. I thought that was really cool too, because I don't think like that happens in Marvel movies like ever. So it was nice to see that, like, oh, they still actually care about the people that died, or at least will mention them in some way.
Well, we know it doesn't happen in the regular MCU because they didn't give a damn about Black Widow when they were saying goodbye to Stark.
No, yeah.
They're like, all right, we say goodbye to everybody, right? Yeah, I think we did. I think we're good. They were like, okay. Meanwhile, Hawkeye's just like, yeah, some of
the only funeral they ever did, right? That was the only one.
Only big funeral, yeah. Because remember,
Yeah.
Peggy had a funeral.
Oh yeah, Peggy, yeah.
Peggy had a funeral. Yeah, no, they, and I've not yet heard Kevin Feige explain that, but they 100% forgot about that poor girl. But yeah, no, that was pretty cool. AJ, I think this.
Hold on. I'll go on. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Jamie, do you think Shang-Chi has powers?
I kind of do. I kind of do. I can't lie. I kind of do.
Javon, the more people you get to say yes does not mean you are vindicated. It just means a lot of you think incorrectly.
Because it's like, the only reason why I say kind of is because when he went to Talo, he was able to kind of like learn the arts that they were doing. And we didn't see like his mom really do that outside of Talo. So I wonder if that's like once you're spiritually connected with Talo, you're able to like do these mystical things, and then like once you leave, you can't do it anymore. But yeah, those were some powers. I just
think Trayvon's putting a lot of emphasis on a child saying, "Mom, you don't have your powers anymore." To a child, you manipulated.
She left it with the Great Protector. She said she left her abilities with the Great Protector. Of course,
she says. She probably also told him about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
I'm sure she can still do that dance.
What do you mean? They're all real.
Still do the dancing.
She did. She did.
Okay, she can still do the dancing. She didn't have the abilities. So okay, well, whatever.
Anyway, AJ, as I was saying, I did think this was a good chance for them to open up the door to Kathan. Maybe seeing Kathan down the line. I thought that was a possibility. But I really did. I think.
So? I was going to say how so.
Oh, okay. No, it's just opening up another realm. The more realms you show, at some point, Kathan is going to be in one of these realms that you open up. No, what I enjoyed most out of this third act, AJ, and you're gonna close this out before we finish this with the end credit scenes. I did very much enjoy him using the Kamehameha to defeat the evil monster. I was just like, Simu Liu could be Goku, and I wouldn't be upset with it.
Is that not an ability? Wait a minute.
Wait. He used the ring. Good Lord.
He manipulated the rings.
Okay, yes, that's not a superpower. That's once you have the rings, that's what you can do.
Hey, do you think Iron Man has superpowers because he uses?
Iron Man made a suit. You see,
but the suit enhanced them. That's what we're saying. The rings.
No, that's not the same. No, we're not doing that. No. That's not the same thing.
All right.
Okay. So
Black Panther has powers.
You said Black Panther has powers?
He does. He's enhanced by that fruit. A heart-shaped herb, whatever you want to call it.
What does that have to do with what we were talking about with Shang-Chi and
powers? I'm just saying it's powers. All of it's powers. That's how I look at
it. Did Shang-Chi eat a fruit or a herb?
No, anyway, but he got powers from the Great Protector. To the third act.
Nope. All right. So what was the question, Juwan?
My question was, AJ, your thoughts on the third act. What were your thoughts on the third act?
It was a great third act. I can't really say much because I wasn't disappointed like I was with a little bit of Black Panther or most of the MCU movies. I think that Shang-Chi stuck its landing, action-wise, visually, all the CGI, everything was done beautifully. So that's all I can say with this third act. It was just done amazingly.
Yeah, no, they definitely, as you said, stuck the landing, no pun intended, with Shang-Chi having the superhero landing. They did.
Also, people, stop saying you should remake Dragon Ball Z. No, it still wouldn't work. live action Dragon Ball Z
It would.
still wouldn't work. No,
yes,
it
it
wouldn't.
would. Yes, it would.
It wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
It wouldn't. It would just be no. It wouldn't work.
I don't believe that. That'd be like if someone said Green Lantern can't work just because the first time you tried it, it didn't. No, it can work. You just have to get people who are actually invested.
Green Lantern
try to do
can't work because it's been proven that it could work. With all these superhero movies, yes, it is proven that it could work.
Okay, we're not gonna go down this road, but Dragon Ball Z 100% can be done. Anyway, end credit scenes completely insane. The first one was Katie and Shang-Chi explaining their adventures to their friends who think they're full of shit. When all of a sudden, hocus pocus, abracadabra, a portal opens in the background. Out pops Wong.
Wong.
Oh, okay. Out pops Wong looking for Shang-Chi, not even knowing what he looks like, but just looking for him. Only for Shang-Chi to go here and for him to bring him into the Sanctum Sanctorum and to explain the rings. And then we get, as Trayvon is just eagerly trying to show us, Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner.
Good old Captain Boogers.
Actual Bruce Banner, not Professor Hulk, as we saw at the end.
That was the weirdest thing.
But
yeah,
but I don't want to. I know you guys are going to talk about that. I want to concentrate on the best part of that end credit scene, and that was just the seriousness where it's like it's really solemn, it's important, it's intense, and everything. And they're like, yeah. And all of a sudden they get Wong to do karaoke. That shit was amazing. And I know there's so many other things that we could talk about in that scene. I'm sure you guys will, but to me, that was my biggest takeaway. I was like, I love this. I love Wong. He's like the unspoken. He's like the unspoken like MVP of the MCU. Him and like Luis, they're just amazing.
They're unspoken.
Like people don't speak about how amazing they are. Like we do, but like the casual audience, if you're like, who you like, no one's like,
secondary.
Oh, Wong.
I guess. Okay,
you know
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes. Wow. As you did say, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, as you did say, yes, I do want to focus on something else. Wong does mention Banner and Captain Marvel do mention that the rings are of technology they have never seen before. It proceeds even the books in the Sanctum Sanctorum. That leads me to believe that it is of celestial. It is either of other realms or it is of the celestials. But the most important thing is two things. One, they brought up the beacon. There is a beacon that these rings have ignited, and Shang-Chi accessing its power is what started the beacon. I think it could be a long-term beacon, which could be Galactus. I think it could be a short-term beacon that could be oh man, what's the dragon, AJ? I'm completely Fing Fang Foom. Those are my two thoughts. I think it's only those two. And I am curious what caught Carol Danvers so quickly that she was just like, oh, gotta go, bye. Like, Bruce got my number.
My girl busy. My girl's busy.
She was just trying to leave. She ain't had nothing important to do.
I'm gonna be completely honest.
Brie Larson was in the area. Kevin Feige saw her at like Starbucks and was like,
I
hey.
100% believe that when Captain Marvel was called, she asked Wong, do you think this is like a galactic problem or just like an Earth problem? And he's like, I don't know, could just be an Earth problem. I gotta go. I'm not here. I'm protecting all worlds. I can't care about Earth. Which, by the way, I can say, since leaving Earth the first time, she has not given a shit about Earth since. She is very much of, I got other stuff to worry about. Who cares about the world that gives birth to me?
I get it.
To be fair, Earth has like 1,000 heroes now, so she doesn't really have to worry.
AJ, she didn't know that when she came back in Endgame. She didn't know that there were a million heroes here already.
She assumed, you know. I mean, she was just like, the way things are going. They got Nick Fury.
He's like, Fury never called me, so
yeah,
yeah, so it's good.
You guys were
fine. It's
fine.
like I gave him instructions.
He landed
He's
on
smart.
Earth. She landed on Earth for 5 seconds. They said, I'm out. He's like, wait,
Well,
you gonna help
don't
clean
you
up?
remember?
Nope.
Don't you remember in Captain Marvel, and they were talking about who's been to Earth, and Minerva was like, yeah, once. It was a shithole. Like everyone, apparently the whole galaxy's like, don't ever go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible.
Denver said, I'll never come back ever. But no, again, I said it before. I love her color scheme. I hope they keep this color scheme, but cut her hair again. Don't need it long. Don't need it long at all. But yeah, it did interest me because again, she is busy. She's building Sword with Fury. She's building Sword. She also, like she said, has other worlds that she's working on.
I smiled so hard.
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars is on the horizon. With getting mention of Celestials, Secret Wars is on the horizon. But AJ, what did you make out of this end credit scene, and what do you think that beacon is beeping off for?
I think it's sending a signal to Fing Fang Foom. I think he's coming. Whether it's a Marvel movie that's coming up soon, or maybe a sequel to Shang-Chi, maybe. I don't know when, but maybe, like you said, long term, it could be a beacon to Galactus. That way he knows where Earth is. Maybe that would be a good reason for him to come.
Also, think of it like this. The Infinity Stones are powerful enough to cause a major event that now has awoken the Eternals and brought back the Celestials. So if the Infinity Stones were that strong, we're now talking about an artifact that is stronger in the MCU, not in the comics, that is stronger than the Infinity Stone. So this could be a larger beacon that does, strike the interest of Galactus. Like, what's out there? Okay.
There's a strong energy source. It's time to eat.
Yeah, he's like, all right. He's like, yo, Silver Surfer, you busy? Nah, of course you're not. You work for me. Do me a favor. I see this beacon in like the Earth sector. Go ahead and check that out for me. And I'm telling you, the day Norrin appears, yes, the day he appears in the MCU, I won't even be able to talk about it. I'll have already been put into a coffin and like just gone to the next life. That is literally all I'm waiting for. Galactus is the cherry on top. When I get the Silver Surfer, it is our huge acknowledgement that Galactus is literally right around the corner.
Yeah.
Right around the corner. So to me, I'm hoping that this beacon alerts Silver Surfer and he's just like, let me check it out, see if it's something my master wants to eat. I'm just hoping. That's just me. So AJ, you're going with Fing Fang Foom short term.
Yeah. I
like it. Tia, how did you enjoy this end credit scene, and what do you think that beacon was alerting?
As I said, I loved it, karaoke scene, whatever. But I did like, we don't know when the next Avengers movie is going to be. So admittedly, we don't know when a lot of team ups are going to happen, right? So it's always
2025.
That is the expected date is 2025. I think Feige was saying he wants to give all these new Avengers time to kind of cultivate their own stories. Before you do another big team up.
Okay. Well, either way, it's still it gives me that same feeling in phase 1 and phase 2 when you would see other MCU characters pop up in other MCU characters movies. I still enjoyed that, seeing Wong and Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner. It's nice seeing that even though they dealt with Thanos, that they're still involved in the safety of Earth and all that. I thought that was cool. I am interested into why Bruce Banner is Bruce Banner and not Professor Hulk. I mean, I'm not exactly mad at it because Mark Ruffalo was looking pretty good. So I was like, hi.
He does look a little older though.
I just had a thought on that, but you can keep going.
In 5 years.
No, actually soon. I think it's gonna. My theory, it's gonna be fairly soon.
I'm saying it's been 5 years since remember in Endgame there was 5 years and everything. So there's been 5 years, and you never know what the whole being fused with the Hulk could do and everything. So I mean, there's that. But either way, I thought it was cool seeing them all explain, and it was just kind of this promise that, you know, Shang-Chi is going to be with us. Like, he's going to be involved. He's not going to be in the little corner. We won't have to wait years and movies for it to finally be like, hey, by the way, you come hang out with us and everything. It's like, no, right away from like day one, it's like, okay, you're going to be involved in something much bigger. And I like how it says, like, your life is completely going to change. And I really enjoyed that.
I also like that there's no Avengers. So the words "Welcome to the Avengers" were never uttered. It was just "Welcome to the circus," because it's legit us still cleaning up the entire mess we just made in the course of those last 5 years that existed. Mm-hmm. So it's more so just like, hey, get in where you can fit in. And it's just like, is there someone I talk to at reception? We don't have none of that anymore. We're still trying to figure this out. Just don't worry. Just be available if we call you. But I do think Wong is how we have Bruce Banner. I think a part of Bruce Banner's story that has not been touched since The Incredible Hulk is Betty. Where the fuck is Betty? I'm sure at some point, maybe when things started to calm down, maybe he wanted to go back to her. It's probably hard to go back to her as a giant green monster with glasses. So we know that the Ancient One has the ability to project you out of your body. So I think maybe there's a spell or something that can kind of bring you back to your natural form. I hope this is their soft retcon to making it to where Bruce has to actually transform again to the Hulk. They can be of one mindset, but I need the Savage Hulk. You know what I'm saying? I need the Hulk that's ready to fight rather than like picking up a Bible telling you all the good things you can do instead of fighting. I don't need that again. But Jamie, I'm going to go to you. What did you think of the end credit scene, and what do you think that beacon means?
I like the end credit scene. I thought it was really funny that they kind of went back to do their like friend date thing. I don't know what that was, but it was funny to see that like they're telling them this and they're like, dude, like how stupid do you think I am? Like obviously that's not real. And then like Wong pops in like, guys, come on, let's go. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We have to go. I'll Venmo you later. Bye. And they just leave.
Yeah, the mention of Venmo was amazing for some reason. It was so like on the nose. And the fact that that friend finally got like, I'm sorry, I really didn't like that friend. So I was like, yeah, good. You deserve to be wrong.
Yep, she shut up really quick after seeing that. Just like, oh, okay. But I thought it was interesting that and I don't know if I'm like misremembering anything, but Bruce was in a sling, like his arm was broken or something. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking like now that Joanna's kind of explained, like maybe Wong was working with Abomination, so maybe he was working with like Professor Hulk or whatever form of Hulk to get him back to Bruce. Like maybe he broke his arm during that. But it was really cool to see that they're like going to dive into the Ring's origin a little bit more and really explore like just how powerful they are, and the fact that like there's no information on them in the Sanctum Sanctorum is also really interesting. I am kind of like when they first like panned over to Captain Marvel and Bruce, I thought for a second that I heard Doctor Strange's voice, and I'm like, oh, what if he's in it? What if he's in it? But I guess they're gonna be saving him for later. I'm like, dang, Benedict Cumberbatch is like never available, is he? Because like we rarely see him unless it's Doctor Strange.
That is true. That is all he's available for. Feige just said, empty your calendar. Strange. Yeah. That's it. Every day.
I guess so.
So timeline, before we leave, timeline wise, what timeline is this in? Between this and Multiverse of Madness?
We don't know. We don't know. Because it looks like maybe Wong was heading to, the school. You remember in the first Doctor Strange, where the Ancient One took them, where they were training with like those nightsticks? Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Wong was saying he and Strange felt that from there. That's like in a different realm. That's not in the Sanctum Sanctorum. So he was saying it was so strong, they felt it somewhere else. So it looks like in No Way Home, he's entering that. So this maybe takes place after No Way Home, before No Way Home. I don't know. But as far as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, who knows? I assume after. And it's a good chance we could see Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange too. Who knows? Who knows? Because again, a lot of people are gonna say, "Well, wouldn't that get out?" No one knew Mark Ruffalo and Brie Larson were in this, so it's possible that it doesn't. But all right, Trayvon, sorry, go ahead. Your thoughts on the end credit scene and then the beacon. No, because I'm sorry. When AJ said before we leave, I thought I went to, and I'm like, I didn't. AJ messed me up. Go ahead.
Well, Captain Marvel was there. That's the best part about it. No, I mean when the first thing I thought about was, okay, so Wong is doing this. So where is Doctor Strange? Why is he this busy? Like, what's going on? Like, why is Wong handling this if they both felt it? Wouldn't Doctor Strange want to know what's going on too? Like,
well, I think that's probably why he sent Wong. I think Strange. That's what I was trying to tell you before, and I'm gonna shut up so you can finish. But Strange in the comics really only operates in bigger picture events. So it has to be really big to kind of get him out of the Sanctum Sanctorum. I mean, that's where he's supposed to always be.
I guess for me, I just thought about was it Thor 2 when he sensed Loki and he makes sure he pulled him in like right away. Like, why are you here? Like, he sensed. I guess he doesn't sense malice from Shang-Chi, I guess.
Well, also Loki remember, he's very aware of who Loki is. It's not that like he knows who Loki is. It's why he told Thor, you and your brother gotta go. I know it because again, this takes place after the attack on New York. So he knows who Loki is. So it was just one of those. I'm pretty sure the Ancient One, when she trained Strange, probably has a list of people to look out for. And Loki was probably on that top 10 list. So he was probably familiar of like, you gotta go. You can't stay here.
Yeah, but as soon as they mentioned Beacon, I feel like they know that people that had no idea who whatever you just said, whatever, yeah, that person, that thing. Nobody knows who that is. So most people like me would know about Galactus. And so as soon as you hear Beacon, that's what I thought of. Like, it's the only thing I thought of. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess this like brings him, but I thought the Silver Surfer brings him. Like, just my thoughts. I was like, well, how would that work? Like, and then I thought about, I was like, I bet people will be mad at this if he's gonna bring Galactus and not the Silver Surfer. Like, if they like don't do Silver Surfer or something like that. I just thought just my mind just went to all kind of places at that point. Captain Marvel being there, just, I mean, great. I was just like, yo, okay, yeah, she's like awesome Beacon. I was like, oh, look at her, yay, my Super Saiyan is here. So then let's see. That's what she is to me. Sorry. Let's see. Seeing Bruce Banner, like actually Bruce Banner was off-putting. I was like, oh, why is he normal now? And I looked at his arm and I started thinking, I was like, is it the same side of Hulk's arm when he did Snap? I can't remember. I remember it damaged his arm. So that would be, maybe that's why his arm was in the sling still. I don't know how far this is behind Endgame. Like, I don't know like where this lines up, but maybe it's really close. Maybe his arm is still damaged. You saw Thanos was pretty fucked up too.
The Russo brothers said that's permanent. So no matter how long after Endgame, according to them, the damage to his arm is permanent.
Well, I guess because Thanos was messed up after he did it. So let me see what else I don't know. It's just fun for them telling, oh, you're here now. I was like, yes, fine. They're connected right away. I can't help. I hate thinking about this, but it just makes me think of Guardians and how Gunn wanted them so separate for so long. I was like, bring them in. Like, this is Marvel. We don't do separate here. Come on, bring them in. And then they finally got in. I'm like, what you gonna do now? Can't separate them again. Well, technically you can, but don't. So let's keep them in. So for me, I was happy about that. I was like, I didn't want Shang-Chi to be separate forever. I was like, I kind of want him interacting with everybody else. So I get that. So I'm happy. That's why I was saying I got everything I wanted and more. I got Captain Marvel. I got him being connected. We're here. I'm here. I'm happy. So yeah.
You can expect anybody that's on Earth to be an immediate connection. The Guardians weren't connected for a while because the Avengers hadn't ventured off into space yet. So there was no way for them really to ever to meet. Again, the only reason they met the Avengers is because Thor landed on their windshield.
I know.
So that you had to get to that line before you were able to connect.
I mean, they could have just not did them at all, but you know, it's fine. Yeah, I don't like Guardians. I'm gonna put it out there.
Okay,
go ahead.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up here. I just want to bring light to Xialing is the actual post-credit scene, taking over for her father. As you see, the rings behind her are new designs on the rings. She has graffitied the hell out of her father's compound. You see women and men training. Yes. The shot that stands out to me is, I know a lot of people compared her on the throne to Boba, but I compare it to something that's more realistic. That's the same pose that her father made earlier on in the movie on the throne.
Well, I freaking loved it. Like, to me, I think both of these end credit scenes killed it. But again, like with Xialing being so removed, like not being removed from her, that her father wanted her removed from the whole process. And now she's like this criminal, you know, like lord and everything. I loved it, where it's like, I love you, my brother Shang-Chi. We helped defeat, you know, this Cthulhu looking thing, but I'm still a badass and I'm still gonna run shit. And I was just like, I love this. This is amazing. And it's like, and again, we saw Razor Fist by her side. So it's like, I love this shit. Like, I can't wait to see more of her in the future. Like, I need her to be like, and I think you guys saw at the end, it said like the 10 rings will like return. So I was like, okay, Kevin Feige has plans for this. It's not just a one-off where it's going to be like, oh, this is what we're just going to assume is going on. It's like, no. She's going to continue being this like criminal lord, and I love it.
And she said,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
She said earlier in the movie that like her father wouldn't invite her to be a part of his empire, so she created her own, and now it's kind of like paying it forward. Now she's taken his empire, not directly from him, but she's taking over.
She saw the empty seat and said, instead of letting it stay vacant, I'm going to fill it now.
Yep.
And I think when we will see her next is, can't even believe I'm saying this because this movie reiterates what I felt from the show, but I think the very next time we see Xialing will be the very next time we see the Power Broker. And we will see them team up in some way, form, or fashion. This movie's end credit scene really made me go, well, that could have just been the Power Broker. But anyway, great end credit.
Strong, badass women. Yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, you only needed
No, don't get yourself in trouble by saying that.
I was gonna say you only needed one out of the two of them. You didn't need both. One could have just consumed both. But anyway, I think when they say the 10 rings will return, they're speaking of both the actual rings and the actual army. But it does make sense. We could see Xialing as soon as Armor Wars. She could be one of the bidders trying to buy Tony Stark's legacy. It all depends where they're going. Is she consumed with having power like her father was, or is she just trying to actually do what the 10 Ring Army was supposed to do, which is protect the people? We'll see. I hope she goes more sour than sweet. So we'll see how that all plays out. Go ahead, Trayvon, before we get out of here.
I was thinking to myself, isn't it so fun that we can speculate like this? Thank you, Marvel.
Yeah. Well, like I told Joel when we were leaving the theater, what's both frustrating and intriguing about the MCU is none of this is based off of comic books 100%, not even 50%. So none of what you saw in this movie, I could tell you, oh, well, this is what's going to happen next. It's not based off of anything. He's freeballing everything. So who knows when we'll see her next? We can only speculate. So that makes part of it fun. And for me, who's spent too much time reading these books, makes it very frustrating to not really know where these dots are going to be connected. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. But we want to thank you guys for listening to our review on Shang-Chi, our spoiler review. I want to thank AJ, Jamie, Tia, and Trayvon. Huge shouts out to Joe. I know he wanted to be here, but he couldn't make it. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have a vlog from when we went to the theaters today for Shang-Chi. And we have so much coming for you guys. All right. So make sure you stay tuned. We got Twitch coming. We have me updating our lives when we do What If. A whole bunch of cool stuff is coming you guys' way, so make sure you stay tuned. And thank you guys.
And hopefully Eternals won't be pushed back.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
manifesting that.
yeah, I don't think so. I think Shang-Chi will generate enough interest and enough money that you'll keep it. I mean, again, there's new variants every day, so who knows? Pushing it till March will do what, you know? And you don't want to cloudy up. You know, Black Panther's coming out in the summer. There's just a lot coming out in the summer. You don't want to start to just put too much. It's why Venom and Carnage didn't move, because it was going to move to March. You want to come out when the Batman comes out? You think that's smart? You think you're going to make money that weekend?
That's when is that when Multiverse of Madness comes out too? March?
No, I think that was May. Is it? It might be March. I could be wrong. It might be March. Maybe it is. But again, that's different. That's a Marvel. That's an MCU movie.
No, I'm saying I was thinking if Eternals move, that moves, and just everything moves.
If Eternals moves, it might move till either late summer or like this time next year. But hopefully it doesn't. I don't think it will. But all right, thank you guys. Until next time. Peace.
Hi everyone.